Well, hello there, and welcome to an evening in 10 Forward. How are you all? This is the final 10 Forward of the year. Obviously, not going to do one next Friday, as it is indeed Boxing Day, the final day of Christmas celebrations. And this is going to be I think, one of the final sane 10 forwards that we're going to do. There may be, I think there's going to be one on the 2nd of January, and then probably one more, and then we're going to venture into the realm of insanity with Starfleet Academy. So tonight I have with me a Watch Nerd, and we are going to be venturing into a little conversation about classic Trek versus NuTrek, but we are going to go through some news beforehand. How are you, Watch Nerd?
Yeah, not too bad, thank you. Another week done. I think obviously we're both in the UK, so for us we always get like Christmas Day and Boxing Day off, so that would be Thursday and Friday of next week. So it's nice. It's nice to have like a long weekend to look forward to, and it's just nice sometimes to have a change of pace, I think, and just to kind of chill out a bit from modern life. But yes, lots of Star Trek news this week. Some good and some bad. Well, mostly bad.
Yes, I suppose it's a matter of perspective, isn't it? Really, because if you enjoy Star Trek as it is in its current form, then it's probably good news. Although I would possibly suggest getting some sort of help. I think we are going to need a lot of help to get through Starfleet Academy when it does eventually grace us with its presence. Just want to make sure that everything's okay with the stream. Everyone can hear us absolutely fine. If there's any volume issues, then please do let us know. A good place says, love you guys. Thanks for the happy memories. Merry Christmas and a Happy New Year. And the same to you, my friend. And RRTNZ said, jumping in early with the distinction between classic and new Trek. One is sci-fi, mostly well done, sometimes incredibly well and groundbreaking. The other is a fingerprinted copy by a slow toddler. And Guna says, looking forward to this one. So thank you very much, you guys in the chat. It is always, as always, great to have you. As you mentioned earlier, Watch Nerd, bit of Strange New World cam there.
Strange New World camera angle.
I feel like I've been interviewed by Ortega's brother.
Oh, such a wild episode. Well, I guess we should maybe get on to the subjects of Strange New Worlds then, seeing as you've brought it up.
Segued, very neatly segued.
Yeah. So as some people may or may not know, season 5 filming wrapped this week, and I believe a number of the actors in the show have been posting stuff on Instagram, kind of signaling that it was, that they've wrapped filming, and that's nice. I mean, look, in my personal opinion, for those actors, it's a tremendous achievement to be on a Star Trek show for 5 years. Do you know what I mean? That for most of them, without wishing to sound nasty, that will be the pinnacle of their careers.
Mm-hmm.
So, like, I get that. Do you know what I mean? It's a well-known IP. If you're an actor or an actress, it's a big deal. Yeah,
Absolutely.
100%. But yeah, obviously not our favorite show. I'm glad it's coming to an end. I'm glad we only have to sit through 6 episodes of season 5, and I hope they just can put it to bed and, with a minimal damage to canon, even though obviously we don't really consider it to be canon, but you know what I mean? Yeah.
Limited attempted damage to canon.
Yeah.
It's quite clear that a lot of New Trek isn't indeed canon, and you're quite right when you say that the actors deserve to have their moment, because they have, whether you agree with us or not, they have certainly survived 5 years, not really 5 seasons, because the total amount of Strange New Worlds that we've seen equates to about 2.5 seasons of 90s television. So
Yeah.
it's sort of like getting are getting a gold star when the gold star has been somewhat devalued over the course of many years. But Strange New Worlds was a funny one to begin with, because it was kind of like the false promise. Okay, so it was kind of like your partner saying they can change. They can change. Honestly, they can change, and they do for a day, and then they revert straight back to what the behaviors that were the original problems which people had. So Strange New Worlds had, I think, a not a solid first season, but a much more impressive first season than Discovery had in its entire run. They claimed to have listened to the fans, except they were kind of straw man complaints that people had with the nature of NuTrek. They said, "Oh, yes, we'll go back to an episodic Star Trek because that's what you guys want to see." And then the very next season, it was previously on Strange New Worlds, which was appearing in every single episode. And I was not tremendously impressed with Strange New Worlds. When it first came out, I made a video. It's one of my highest performing videos, and I got quite heavily slated for suggesting that it perhaps wasn't up to scratch and wasn't up to par, or even close to what we actually wanted for Star Trek, where Discovery made the mistake of focusing on one character. Strange New Worlds brought an ensemble cast and tried to make us care about each and every one of them, but it's kind of this really bad copy or bad stage performance. I always think to Thor Ragnarok, when Thor goes back to Asgard and they're putting on the play. Loki's doing the play, isn't he? And all the characters aren't quite right. They're all exaggerated. I think Matt Damon's in there somewhere. And it's all sort of very pseudo and very sort of it's a piss take. Let's not split hairs. It's a piss take, and that's what Strange New Worlds felt like. It felt like it was trying to figure out what Star Trek was. And this first season, like I said, had mostly decent episodes for the for the standard of NuTrek. We always talked about the fairy tale episode.
That was a very good episode.
It was, and it showed us that the characters that certainly even the characters that weren't technically canon. It showed us that they were capable of making them look as stunning as they were supposed to be. Christina Chong, for example. Many a joke between myself and Zell about that one, because Christina Chong is an incredibly beautiful woman who is, I think, made incredibly unattractive in Strange New Worlds on a regular basis. So yeah, I think they screwed the pooch with Strange New Worlds, and to see it come to an end after 5 seasons it's 5 seasons is the new 7 seasons. I think it's the modern 7 seasons, except we had more seasons of classic Trek and more episodes per season. So they were able to do both quantity and quality. Whereas Strange New Worlds is ended, I think, ceremoniously, with an appalling, pardon me for putting it this way, wet fart of a season 5 with 6 episodes. And I'll be quite honest, if they aren't anything over an hour long, I would be disappointed, but kind of amused at the same time.
I mean, it's not taken that long to film season 5, has it? I mean, even though it is only 6 episodes, so I suspect it might be the usual episode length. Do you know what I'm trying to say?
Mm-hmm.
Because it's only been a few months,
Yeah.
which is no time at all really in modern TV. So yeah, I'd imagine. But I think they're contractually obliged. I'm guessing to have some kind of a season 5, but they've decided obviously just to kind of append it because it hasn't been breaking viewing figures as far as I can understand it. I think season 1 did well, but I think season 2 had a massive fall off a cliff in terms of views. And then season 3, I mean, we've said this before, I know people from the convention circuit, diehard fans, and because they've been to conventions, they spent money, to see people in real life, and very few of them mentioned season 3. Do you know what I mean? They didn't. It was odd to me that no one was like in the WhatsApp group, oh, has anyone seen season 3? Do you know what I mean? Some of them haven't even seen season 5 of Discovery. So
Well, I can imagine. I sort of imagined the cast being interviewed about season 3, and one of them just going, "Best season ever," kind of like Emilia Clarke did with Game of Thrones season 8. No, there wasn't. There's not. The thing is with Star Trek is there's been no hype, and there's been no hype because what is out there is just not worthy of the hype. And it would be a different story if it was successful. No Star Trek show that was successful, like your Next Generation, your DS9, your Voyager, your Heyday series, were unceremoniously cancelled. Enterprise was, but there were various different reasons for that. It essentially got fireflied out of existence. And with NuTrek, we're just not seeing success. You're not seeing success from the merchandising. You're not seeing success from, marketing. You're not seeing the success for the ratings, although the ratings are hidden behind a streaming service, which means they don't have to publish their ratings. So I suppose they can spend as much as they actually want to on a Star Trek show. But Strange New Worlds ending the way it has, I agree that there has to be something going on behind the scenes. Certainly with the Skydance merger. I'm seeing with a lot of different mergers that are going on at the minute, obviously Warner Brothers, with what's happening with them at the moment, it seems to be that they're getting some form of administrative. Oh, I can't speak tonight.
administrative.
Thank you. That's the one.
Yeah.
I got my other teeth in today. Control over it, and they're just quietly observing and saying, "Yeah, we're not going to change much. We're going to see how you do things." And it takes years before we start seeing any kind of big changes. With regards to the Skydance merger, again, I'm not gonna sit here and try and tell you that I've got sources inside, Paramount and Skydance who have said my best mate's cousin's former roommate and all of that stuff. It's not because I don't claim to know what's going on behind the scenes, but from what we can surmise, what we see, Strange New Worlds has been ended. It's been cancelled. It's only got 6 seasons in its last series. Star Trek Academy, I can tell you now, even the social media algorithms are having a real problem stifling true opinion about the show. You go on platforms like Facebook, and all you see is negative comments with and it is very odd numbered comments where they're going, "Oh, I can't wait for this show." And it's funny, isn't it? Those are the comments that the official Star Trek Facebook group reply to. They never reply to the ones that are critical, saying, "Oh, there's an effeminate Klingon there. What's going on there?" So we've seen a lot of suppression when it comes to opinions about NuTrek. And we've seen that across the modern world as well, across the modern entertainment world over the last, I would say, decade. you've seen a lot of stifling of opinion, a lot of legal threats and lawsuit threats, and takedown requests. Certainly on YouTube, we were discussing it last week with Guna. That it's very easy for these. It's far too easy for these companies, in fact, to delete YouTube channels, for example, to bring them down, to put in copyright strikes and claims, and really damage a channel because that channel's not promoting their product. Now, I understand that it's always worked a certain way when it comes to okay, you give us a good review, we'll give you special access, we'll give you little merchandising extra, bonuses and stuff. But to go completely the other way, I mean, I remember doing a stream on this channel during Startrek Day back in 2021, I think it was, and getting a copyright strike. I had the stream in a little tiny window in a corner of my live stream, and they shut it down. And I got a copyright strike, and if I'd gotten another one, I wouldn't have been able to stream again for however many weeks it stays on your file for. And that's because we saw all the channels that were promoting NuTrek able to live stream it. And I know, you could say that it's defamation and all of that sort of stuff, but it's just honesty. It's just truthful.
It's your
thoughts.
opinion.
Exactly.
Because you're not saying anything factually untrue. You're saying this is my opinion. I don't like it, and that you're entitled to your opinion. You're not obviously defaming them. You're not slagging kind of the actors off particularly. It's just we understand that they're paid to do it. It is what it is. We've all got to pay bills. Fine. It's obviously still a well-known IP, so it's good for the CV, good for the acting CV, but we just don't like it. That's nothing personal against anyone. But yeah, it's the constant gaslighting, I think, has been tiring for a lot of fans of well-known IPs over the years. I've certainly found it exhausting. Sometimes you almost kind of fall for the gaslighting. I remember when I first watched Discovery, I was just like, oh, maybe it, because I watched Star Trek when I was a kid, particularly Deep Space Nine, and one part of my brain was like, well, maybe it was always a bit rubbish. I was like, maybe I misremember it, but obviously that wasn't the case. Which is that Discovery was terrible. So, but I think that's just been a struggle for a lot of fans, not only Star Trek fans, but Star Wars fans, Doctor Who fans, Marvel fans over the past few years, because it's just been, IPs have just been destroyed, and I think in some cases deliberately, in some cases maybe just through sheer ineptitude, because you have the wrong people in charge who don't understand that IP, that genre, and want to make things for mainstream modern audiences, not understanding that obviously there's already an audience for that IP. That's why it's been around for years. Don't mess with the mixture too much, because the cooking mixture, it's already right as it is, because you already get whatever demographic you attract with that genre. Why are you trying to change sci-fi into something that would appeal to someone who would watch Dawson's Creek and enjoy it? It's just very different genres of television. So I've never understood that from companies that supposedly want to make money. It's just like, come on.
Well, it's not just they want to make money, they want to make more money. And I think, to be fair, Marvel has had a tremendous amount of success in the last crikey 15 years. Okay, so Marvel movies have done fantastic. Not so much lately, of course, because it's for various reasons we won't go into, because we just simply don't have the time. So Marvel was massively successful, and then I think the industry all wanted to do Marvel. They all wanted to have that success. They wanted to repeat that success. Now, there's always also a trend, as we've said, of them trying to change IPs to make them more accessible to the quote normies. Okay, you know, I think Harry Potter fans would call them muggles. You know, that sort of people who aren't part of the fan base. They aren't part of this world. You know, they are people that believe that Star Trek is just simply pew pew and beam me up Scotty and all of that ridiculous typecasting. And you know, every time I watch an episode of classic Star Trek, I think what I'm seeing is quality, and it doesn't matter the era it was made; it's quality. And you watch anything modern that has the Star Trek brand, and stuff just happens. You know, I mean, I don't want to go too much into it at the moment because we're very early on in the show, but stuff just happens, and it's written by people who don't know how to write in the most basic, basic description of that term. They don't know how to write, but they also don't know how to write science fiction. They don't understand science. And Strange New World, I think, was less guilty of this. Discovery was more guilty of this. Discovery was just pseudo Trek from start to finish. And I don't understand how it made it through 5 seasons. Again, I think it's just internal funding. It would be different. And Netflix was a good example of this. Netflix that paid for Discovery Season 1 were not willing to pay for Discovery Season 2. And not willing to give it a home anymore because they were paying for it and it was failing. And they saw it failing. Now, Paramount would, CBS at the time, they were intent on covering those holes, covering those, those failures. And it was really telling because Netflix said, no, we're not going to pay for it. CBS, Paramount, they take it internal and say, we'll just keep throwing money at it. We'll keep throwing money at it. We'll keep making it and keep making it. To the point where I think they were getting so stubborn and believing they were so right for so long that they just became delusional.
Yeah, that's the thing, isn't it? It's just like, it's
just throwing money into the meat blender.
Their sacred cow, for want of a better term. They just wanted it to succeed, and I think the harder they tried, the more it failed. Because Discovery Season 1, actually, I mean, look, I didn't like it. I stopped watching it partway through, but at least Lorca was an interesting character, and there was some narrative to it. I stopped watching it, but I gather I'd not seen Season 2, 3, or 4, and I refused to watch them because I don't want to waste my life. But I gather it went downhill in Season 2.
Season 2 was a snooze fest. And again, Season 2 was quite interesting because they said they listened to the fans, listened to the criticisms. So they gave the Klingons hair. Didn't change the look, just gave them hair. And just went to various different extremes on that one. Strange New Worlds close up. Blah 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 blah. Excuse me for a sec. YouTube have changed the format and the way they do things. It's absolutely crazy. With live streams, the total layout. I hope you enjoyed that extreme close up of my forehead. It's very difficult to view the stream in its totality now. You have to keep switching windows. Not very good. Comments. Let's see what we got. The only new Trek after 2005 is Orville, and that's a maybe. Well, I would agree with the first part of that comment. I would say that is Star Trek. As Star Trek as you're going to get. Participation trophy for new NuTrek actors. Yeah. My favorite captain is Pike. He is only in one episode. The the Cage, well, the pilot, which I believe never aired. I think it did air, didn't it?
I think it did, but it kind of like, I guess in those days you could memory hole things more easily because obviously there wasn't online streaming
Yes.
back in the 60s. So
Yeah.
it probably wasn't like broadly in syndication, I think, basically.
Yeah. Yeah. So yeah, I agree with you on the Orville there. And like I say, Strange New Worlds is. I think Strange New Worlds deserves to end. NuTrek, obviously, we agree deserves to end anyway. But I think, and we've mentioned this before in terms of Academy and why it's been made and why it's gotten 2 seasons instead, doubling down and whatnot. And I think you, because you've said this in the past, I think you're right. I think it's a contractual thing with Kurtzman. He's allowed to get this show out, and he's been, he probably demanded at least 2 seasons, so they gave him what he wanted. This show, Academy, is going to kill NuTrek. We thought Section 31 would do it. We thought Section 31 would do it, but Academy is going to be, I think, the final nail in the coffin, because the little snippets that they've released so far on social media aren't encouraging at all.
Yeah, I agree with you on that.
It's going to be modern and woke, quote woke. I know people don't tend to like that term, but it is going to be modern, and it's going to be woke, and it's going to be a soppy teen drama that isn't dramatic, that's hollow, shallow, devoid of any soul. We know all this, but now it's being reinforced with the clips that they're releasing. So the clip I saw was the character of Sam. That's the Miss Handshake person who can't complete a handshake.
Oh yes, yeah.
And now she in the clip she says, positive reinforcement. She talks about positive reinforcement. You can do this. You've got this. And I think that's exactly how Discovery started.
Yeah.
And yeah, I don't want to misquote. So I am going to bring it up. It's gonna play, but I'm going to have no sound, because I this to me defines it. Defines what they're doing. This is on the official Star Trek Facebook page, where so I'm going to try and get this paused. I'm Bella Shepherd, and I play Genesis on Star Trek Starfleet Academy. If we can't outmuscle them, we outsmart them. A little feedback, you're not trying hard enough. That's how you do that. It's like, oh, that sounds like Star Trek dialogue. The next one is, hi, I'm George Hawkins, and I play Darim on Starfleet Academy. Last to bed, first to rise. This is the chance to prove ourselves. Are you ready? This is war. Darim, let's hear it. Darim. I'm Keris Brooks, and I play Sam on Starfleet Academy. It's go time. It's high pressure situations. Positive reinforcement is crucial to one's success. I hear you, she says. And I'm Karim Diane. I play Jaden on Starfleet Academy. I am a Klingon warrior. The trick is not to let go of the past, but to let the present in. You know that famous Klingon quote?
Wowzers.
And that's the level that we're at. As I see wow, is that $10 New Zealand from RNTAZ? Star Trek 90210, most terrible idea in all of modern Trek. I won't pay to watch it, but may watch some clips for point and laugh value. Chuck Norris invented warp drive in 1960 while tuning his bike. on TNZ, you're a legend. Thank you very much for that super chat. That's very, very nice of you. Very gracious. Thank you very much, sir. And I'm glad you're all here this evening for this final 10 Forward installment of 2025, and it has been a year. And I think we should talk about the year of 2025 a little bit. But yeah, that's Starfleet Academy. That's what we're getting. We're getting, you go, girl. You got this. You know, I'm a Klingon warrior, but I'm gonna sit with my legs crossed because that's what we do. That's what Klingons do. Didn't you know? And I was watching Mauler's latest video. Now, that's not the 17-hour video that he's done on Star Wars Outlaws. I don't actually know how that's possible. You know, I want his rig because he's editing together a 17-hour, producing a 17-hour video is challenge enough, but exporting a 17-hour video.
Yeah.
I'll hit export and I'll see you next week. You know, that is absolutely bonkers. But I was watching his latest one where and it's another part to his Star Wars, what's the Force Awakens, beg your pardon, Force Awakens. And it's he's breaking that stuff down and going into why the characters would, you know, it's possible that characters would change over time, but the way you write it is you write it in a way that you catch the audience up, and it's a believable transition from 20 years ago to now. But you can't reset characters back to where they were at the beginning of the original material and then have them go on the same journey. It's just repeating the same journey. Now, NuTrek's done this with every classic character. It's basically reset them back to zero. Even Picard. Picard was chronic with Picard season 1. And I mentioned this in the plethora of videos I did about Picard season 1, where we see in the Next Generation, certainly with the best of both worlds, that he is assimilated. He is then brought back into he's turned back into a human, brought back into Starfleet, and he is recovering. He goes through the Next Generation, growing as a character, learning to deal with the Borg. He's not scared of the Borg. He understands the Borg, and by the time we get to Action Picard in First Contact, he's dealt with everything he needs to deal with. There's no further need for reconciliation with what happened to him. Now you go to Picard season 1 and suddenly he's back to the beginning just after Best of Both Worlds, and he's traumatized, and every time he sees the Borg he goes, oh my god, it's the Borg, and he falls over and he's having all these traumatic memories and experiences. It's like, we've already seen this. Why are you pulling the character backwards to retell the story with less quality than what it was before?
Yeah, I mean, I think that was Picard in general. It was just it was flogging the dead horse of a very well loved character, and I think it would be better if it just wasn't ever made. You know, being honest, it is what it is. It happened, but season 3 was obviously a bit better than the first 2 seasons. But you know, I think we could have done without it, really. Honestly,
season 3 told a different story. It didn't retread any ground in terms of Picard. It was like it was a tribute and a summary.
Yeah,
that's what I
didn't find it offensive. I wouldn't watch it again. I didn't find it offensive, but it was just kind of a shoulder shrug for me. I was like, okay, that was nice, but in some ways I thought the story was weak. It was nice to see everyone again, but like, we could have done without it. It wasn't necessary, really.
No, it wasn't needed. It wasn't. I mean, needed.
I guess, yeah.
So, ROT, it says, seriously, how's the weather in the UK? I leave for the UK tomorrow. Oh, bless you, to visit family in England and Wales. Just thinking about what clothes to pack. I would wrap up warm. It's a bit nippy. It was a nice day today. Yeah. As in very sunny and bright. I actually wore my sunglasses for the first time in a long time. But it's cold. and it's going to get colder.
Layers.
Layers.
Layers are the way forward. Yes, maybe like have like t-shirts, maybe then like sweaters and like like outdoor coat,
Yeah.
maybe hat and gloves, that kind of thing.
Yeah, it's cold in the UK. It's cold in the UK a lot of the time, but when we have blistering heat, blistering 31 degrees Celsius, which I'm sorry, but 20 years ago was cold. We all start melting and going, oh my god, it's so hot. But I think in this country, the biggest problem we have is humidity. It's okay if it's dry heat, you can manage it. Like in Spain and Portugal and more equator-esque countries. But in England, it's the humidity that kills you. It's horrible. But no. So my back to what we were talking about, Academy. You're talking about it being set in later Discovery Seasons era, and you're trying to get me to believe that a Klingon can become effeminate and there can be a female Jem'Hadar. Okay, so I would expect to see the following, which I'm almost certain we're not going to see in the first couple of episodes, is that a solid, rational explanation as to why A, there's a female Jem'Hadar, and B, the Klingon is A, robotic as hell. I think that's more the actor, but I don't want to cast dispersions. B, why the Klingon is basically acting like he's in a teen drama. Okay, you want to say that Klingons have changed? Show me how they've changed and make it a rational explanation. We're not going to get that. We know we're not going to get that because they can't do that. They are incapable creatives. They're not going to. And to be fair, they probably feel that they don't owe us an explanation. And it can be something as simple as a throwaway line. But what they've actually done with Academy is they've made it so unrecognizable that people aren't gravitating towards it as Star Trek fans. So you're not going to bring in a large amount of Star Trek fans. You're not going to bring in a large amount of young people to Star Trek, because I find certainly nowadays there's fewer and fewer people interested in science fiction.
Yeah, I agree.
That's either because the age of the mobile phone and TikTok and Instagram and all of that crap, or it's the quality or the lack of quality that they're getting from these modern shows anyway, because people just don't know how to write anymore. They don't know. There's not enough lived experience. You've got all these creatives leaving universities and colleges and whatnot, expecting to be able to go into a writing job. They're put into a writing job, and they've got no experience. They've got no life experience. So
yeah, exactly.
They're writing nothing. They can't write what they know because they know nothing, and that's why we end up.
That's exactly what's happened.
Starfleet Academy.
Yeah, and I think to go back to your point about this year in Trek, I do think that when people look back, I think Section 31 is the death knell for NuTrek, because even the channels who are always really pro NuTrek and think everything's great, even the ones that love Discovery allegedly, they didn't say much at all about Section 31. It was very noticeable, and I think Starfleet Academy might be as bad or worse. So,
I mean, if you were to place it, I don't know whether you're a betting person, but if you were to place a bet, would you say that Academy is going to be worse than Section 31?
If it's possible, yes, I think it will be. Yeah. How about you?
I suppose it's a matter of what the show's trying to do. In some ways, Section 31 is the same as Academy in that it's trying to make Star Trek something it's not.
Yeah.
So Academy is doing exactly the same thing. I think it's going to be worse. Worse for the viewer, because at least Section 31, you could laugh at it, because it was so blatantly ridiculous, in the sense that, you know, these characters you were expected to give two shits about, that you knew nothing about. I mean, the only familiar character in that was, well, two familiar characters was Giorgio, sort of, and Enterprise sea captain Rachel. Was it Rachel?
Oh yes, Rachel. Yes, sorry. I think I've just tried to memory hole that whole thing. I'm just going to be honest
Rachel
with you. I'm
Garrett.
very sorry.
Yeah.
Rachel Garrett.
Rachel Garrett.
Yeah.
So you had two, well, one sort of classic Star Trek character and one NuTrek character that wasn't the NuTrek character that you liked. It was the other version. And yeah, you excuse me, still recovering. You had no other established characters, and they put out, I remember them putting out all these press releases, all these little snippets and character bios. Oh, this is what is it, Mech Man, whatever his name was, I can't remember. And he had this trauma in his past and everything. It's like, if you feel the need to put that information out beforehand, then I already know your film's going to be a show, because nobody's going to actually know anything, because you're not telling that through the narrative and through the story, through the script, through the storytelling. So it strikes me as weird. I've actually just had a message from Guna. He'd like to join the show. Would you be up for that?
Yeah, why not? Shall we?
Yeah. Oh, guys, I think we're gonna have a third person on 10 forward.
There you go.
Bob Guna, if you're watching, you're more than welcome to pop in, mate. Absolutely. I know you've not been feeling well lately, mate. I hope you're okay, but yeah, pop in when you're ready. Yeah. Oh, Academy. Oh dear. And that's not far away. That's not far away at all. Well, it's halfway through next month, so we don't even have a month to go.
Oh.
That's crazy.
I'll try.
Hello, Guna. How are you?
Hello. Oh, can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you, mate.
Let me try and get my camera on.
Yeah, no problem, my friend. Hello, my friend. How are you feeling?
Not great.
Oh, bless you.
The coughing fit is gone.
Oh,
so
good.
I'm all right at the minute. But yeah, not great. But I'm all right. Thank you for letting me come on for a bit. I won't be able to stay for probably an hour or so. But yeah, if you don't mind me intruding for a bit, that would be.
I never mind, mate. Never mind. It's great to have you on. Yeah, we were still covering a little bit of news, to be fair. About we know that Gunnar is on the bridge. Bless him. Yeah, it's obviously Strange New Worlds has just finished filming season 5, and then we worked on to Starfleet Academy. I don't know if you were watching when I was reading out the Facebook little posts that they've done, introducing the characters. Oh my word!
Oh dear.
Those little clips were difficult to watch. The rest of it, I think, is going to be a lot worse.
Can I just put a couple of things in on this?
Of course you can.
Yeah, go for it.
I'll try and be brief. So I don't have much joy with Facebook groups to do with Star Trek, because when I make a comment, and if it's anything even this remotely criticizing NuTrek, I get absolutely destroyed on there, and it's like I'm not going to participate anymore, so I don't bother. But I had to make a comment on, is it Kareem, the guy that's playing the Klingon? I think it's Kareem. I don't know. They call him Team Kareem or something, the actor's name.
Yeah.
and he does a little thing about how he gets the part, and then he's at the coming out of the airport, and he's been greeted, and it's all lovely, and that's right. For the actor, I'm really pleased. I mean, if I was ever to get a chance to appear on Star Trek, I'd be like completely stoked. Even if I was just in the background and just pressing some buttons on a console.
I'd be sweeping the floors, mate. I wouldn't mind.
Exactly. So I for them, I'm pleased for all of these actors in NuTrek. I'm not trying to, well, with the exception of a couple, as I watch them, those I don't like very much. But he's doing this kind of video about how he got the part, and then how he gets into the set and how they start doing his makeup. Now, I'm not trying to be critical of actors and their appearance at all, but for me, growing up watching Star Trek, for me, the notion of a Klingon is quite a big burly guy, an alpha male, if you like. And I see him without his makeup and without his costume, and he's very small. And he's tall, but he's very gangly. He's very thin. And then I hear him speak, and he's so effeminate. And again, I've got nothing wrong with any of this, but it's just giving me, how can you say, the door, to open the door to suggest that this isn't what we know of Klingons. It's the complete opposite, actually. Now, funny thing is, I think I told you, Jen, that I was rewatching The Orville.
Yes.
And you look at a character like Berta, what's his name? Bortis, sorry.
Yeah.
Bortis. Now, to all intents and purposes, his whole species is gay. They're all male and they're gay. But even he's a big, he's like a...
Yeah.
You don't want to mess with him. you approach it. It's like that episode where they go meet First Contact in that planet, and then it's their birthday, so they get thrown in the... Yes, because they were born in the wrong month or whatever.
The Jelliac episode, yeah.
That's it. And then one of the prisoners tries to take the food from the pregnant woman, then, Bortus just steps on and goes, give it back, like that. And he's quite a big guy himself. Now, can you imagine this guy who played whatever name this Klingon is, one with a skirt? I'm laughing in his face. I'm not sure. And I'm a short guy, and I'd still laugh in his face. I'm like, really? You're trying to be a warrior with me? No, mate, it doesn't work. And I put a comment in there saying, let's push over or pass the red blood wine to the side, and let's just talk about our feelings, shall we? And I've probably got destroyed for it. I haven't even looked back. I don't even want to look back, but I've probably been destroyed for saying that. It's just... everything about it, it's nonsensical for me. So I just wanted to just make that one comment about that.
Yeah. Well, it's funny really, because I was saying earlier that even the Facebook groups and the social media groups, the people are starting to come out of the woodwork now. Real Star Trek fans are starting to come out of the woodwork, and the algorithm actually can't keep up with stifling them. And shutting them down, and people are really struggling to defend this show. The only thing that they're going to do is throw vitriol at people. Now, your point about Klingons. I've been watching DS9, a lot of DS9 lately. I can't believe it's leaving Netflix. I'm going to have to get the DVDs out every time now.
I know.
It's bonkers.
Dude, I know.
It's absolutely bonkers. Poor Netflix.
I actually ordered the DVD. I ordered the full DVD box set today because of that. Because I literally was watching a Deep Space Nine episode yesterday, and obviously logged into Netflix. And when I pressed play, I was like, it literally said leaving soon. I was like, you joking?
No.
But to be fair, it's given me the impetus to buy it all on kind of DVD box set, and I think it's actually reduced in the UK. Yeah. It's usually £70. I ordered it for £46 today. There you go, all 7 seasons.
Oh, fantastic! And to be fair, you go in any CEX shop. I'm not going to say the other way of saying that, but any CEX shop, you can pick up the seasons for £4 each on DVD. They're dirt cheap, so yeah, if you're in the UK, go get them. Physical media for Star Trek, brilliant. But I've been watching a lot of DS9, and obviously from sort of season 4 onwards, you've got a lot of Klingon presence in the show. So you got Worf, he comes back, and Worf is a big burly guy, you know, Michael Dorn, quite intimidating, quite tall. Yeah, Gowron, he's quite imposing, and you know, it's like is it Apocalypse Rising, the episode where they go to the big Klingon Grand Hall for the ceremony to expose the Gowron changeling that turns out to be Martok. You go into that hall and you just know that you wouldn't want to go there, you know, because you there's every chance that you're gonna offend someone, and you're probably gonna die, especially being a human. Because in Star Trek, Klingons, minus the original series, okay, we understand the reasons why, budget reasons and whatnot, but in classic Star Trek, Klingons were ferociously scary. And they were intimidating. They were they were imposing. They had on-screen presence. I mean, J.G. Hertzler, for crying out loud, he's played. I think he's played about 3 different Klingons in the show, in the franchise, and the guy nails it every time. I would not want to piss Martok off. And as far as I'm aware, according to canon, Klingons don't have tear ducts. It's been sort of on and off canon. It's been violated in classic Trek. That aside, I honestly think that if I was to go to this new Klingon character in Academy, and like Nog does in that episode, telling him to move and stand up to him, telling him he's got to move, I honestly think he's going to burst into tears. And say, you know, you can't tell me to move, you hurt my feelings. Feelings are the most important thing for Klingons now. Didn't you know? The Klingons have gone woke. You know, and I can picture it. And I am if I was to place a bet, if I was a betting man and I placed a bet, my bet would be that Klingon, at some point within this 10-episode season, is going to cry. We're going to see real Klingon tears. So J.G. Hertzler plays at least 2 different Klingons in Enterprise. Yeah. He even so he did. He was the Klingon commander on the bridge on the Augment episode of Enterprise. And he was actually Archer's barrister, I think, as well, in an earlier episode. Not to mention, obviously, Martok. So the guy knows how to play Klingons. And the Klingon culture is so rich and vibrant. I remember seeing, in the UK, you guys must remember Star Trek Night on BBC Two. Do you remember that?
Yeah.
And they had a documentary. It was like a documentary, and I believe Andre Boulmanis was quite heavily featured in that documentary, and it went around the fandom of Star Trek. It showed the impact of Star Trek, and they followed very briefly this older couple who dressed up as Klingons and there was a Klingon themed bar, and they went dressed as Klingons and celebrated the culture of this race. And throughout classic Star Trek history, Klingons have been celebrated as being this rich culture. And you know, you've got the Klingon dictionary, you've got the Klingon technical guide, you've got all this reference material on the species. It's got its own language. They built a language around it. You can Duolingo in Klingon. I could go through a Duolingo lesson in Klingon right now.
There was a degree. I think you could do a degree in it at one stage.
Yeah. And that's from a TV show. So Starfleet Academy's got a Klingon in it from the 32nd century or wherever the hell they are now, and it's unrecognizable. he's monotone. He's robotic, and he's talking about honor. It's like you're sitting there with a Raktajino with your legs crossed in Starfleet Academy.
It's just mad. It's all mental. This I think ties into a point because I obviously wasn't on the stream last week, but I did watch it. I did catch up.
Yes.
Thank
you for that, by the way.
No worries. Yeah, and I think I remember you two discuss. I think it was Guna who said I was talking about conventions in the early 2000s because I'm too young to have gone to conventions at that time, but as I understand it, it was a very, very popular genre. You know, obviously I remember when I was a child, like the golden age of Trek in the 90s, and I'm sure that the conventions were really, really busy in the UK in the 90s and early noughties. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, sorry, watching. Yeah, it was the 90s. Yeah, it was the 90s.
Yeah.
I used to go. That's it.
Just amazing to hear that, like, you know, you had to book in advance, otherwise you couldn't get a ticket and all that kind of stuff, because it just doesn't happen these days. You know, sadly.
I think there's been a lot of.
Can I
No, please
can I
go
give you
ahead.
a funny story? It's probably not
Go on.
funny actually, but this is the impact that the how can you say how the writers wrote the Klingons and how they wish to portray them on the screen, and this is the impact it had on people who watch the show. And then obviously you do get the enthusiasts. Some enthusiasts might take it a little bit too far, where almost reality, it becomes their reality. I have seen people like that, unfortunately, but that's their way of maybe getting through life and dealing with things. I don't know their stories or whatever. And from that, there was one guy, I can't remember which, I think it was a convention in Manchester that I went to. I can't recall. And he was a guy that came from Scotland, and he such a lovely guy. Honestly, it was brilliant to talk to. We met him. Me and my brother met him, and we were talking to him. And then he went and got in costume, and he dressed up as a Klingon warrior. And he looked like a Klingon. He very, very good. But then he started getting on the drinks, and when he got on the drinks, he literally thought he became a real Klingon. And from that, he was probably a little bit too aggressive with the men, and probably a little bit inappropriate with the women. But what he was trying to do was portray how you would expect a Klingon to in their world. And it did result in him getting thrown out of the convention. So it's not the. I mean,
wow.
it's not the greatest example. But what I'm trying to say here is the impact that it gave us, or the impression that we got from this race was they were a very alpha male, very warrior-like type of race, which is completely the polar opposite of what they're trying to do in Academy with this chap. So it's and I don't think people are going to really, well, not the old school fans are not going to embrace it. I don't think. I'll be shocked. But it's crazy how it infects people and affected people, especially back in the day. All this stuff.
Well, it inspired people. It inspired. I'm sorry. The only mental image I've got, Guna, is of some random guy drunk out his mind, dressed as a Klingon, going around headbutting people at conventions.
Oh no!
He had a blacklet. He had
blacklet as well.
Yes. He wanted to fight.
Oh wow!
That's when the security they had to. They right, okay, enough's enough now. You have to go. We have to.
Sorry, but you've got a really large weapon.
They had to. I think they escorted him to his room and they had to pack your bags. We have to leave.
Oh, bless him. Bless him. But no, I mean, Star Trek has had a massive influence on, on 60 years of people's lives. It has enriched the world around us. It's inspired technological advancement. It's inspired people to get into engineering. It's inspired people to dream of another place, another time, another future. And I've said this before. When you close your eyes at night and you, I don't know, hell, apparently 42, because I still do it. When you close your eyes at night, you can imagine yourself in these places, and you want to be there. because they live in a world where technology has advanced, not to the detriment of mankind, but to enrich people's lives, to extend people's lives, to cure diseases, to make it, to create weapons for defense of all life. They have eliminated war. They tend not to discriminate in the classic term. Star Trek's relatively problematic by a lot of standards nowadays because people have just become far too sensitive. But Star Trek and the world of the Federation, and again with the Orville, with the Planetary Union, exactly the same concept. It's a future that we want to bring into fruition, that we want to be a part of. So why is it that when I look at NuTrek version of that future, I don't want anything to bloody do with it? I can't close my eyes and imagine I'm in that world because I don't want to be in that world. For the same reason, I wouldn't want to close my eyes and end up in Westeros.
Yeah.
Because instead of it being the utopia that we remember, it's this dark, nihilistic, cynical, depressing future where, much in the same way I was saying to Watch Nerd earlier, humanity seems to have gone back to factory settings and has not and then has to evolve again. So it's devolved Star Trek. NuTrek has the concept of Star Trek. It's devolved it because whereas humans had gotten over their petty differences, had gotten rid of war, poverty, gone out to explore, started a united federation of planets, lived in peace with a lot of different races, and gotten past, humanity had sort of, for the most part, gotten past its biggest psychological problems. Now, with NuTrek, it seems to have just reverted, and everybody is from the modern era. And it's just Star Trek from the modern era. So you don't want to be it. It's not escapism anymore. It's just reality. If that makes sense.
Yeah, exactly. It's just so, I find it so depressing to watch, I think, NuTrek in general. Like I found, Strange New Worlds season 3 was depressing to watch, A, because it was really bad, but also B, because it just doesn't have any of the magic that kind of Legacy Trek has.
Mm-hmm.
Do you know what I mean? Like we all know and love. Because yes, Deep Space Nine was a bit of a darker show, but it really had great character arcs. It showed kind of the good and the bad, and it was realistic, I think. But it also kind of had a hopeful undertone to it. Do you know what I mean?
It retained the core values, didn't it?
It just explored, what would probably realistically happen in a universe where you have very different factions, where there's kind of contested, areas of space, of territory, and I think it did it really well because you obviously had the Bajoran struggle. You had obviously that Marquis. You had, this kind of outpost, at the fringes of the Federation, and so it did it really well because you had like a whole ensemble of characters who are very different. It had like a sketchy Ferengi bartender and his family, and you had like the kind of like the commander, widowed commander with his son, the ex-Bajoran freedom fighter, shapeshifter, kind of like, dude who didn't know where he was from. It was like an old kind of outpost in the West, like in the.
It was so vast and it was so, it was diverse as hell. With characters and potential. Just to make one parallel, with regards to about the utopia and the bright optimistic future that seems to be lacking in NuTrek. If you look at Picard season 1 and what the Federation is in Picard season 1, quite hopeless, and only ever featuring female leaders and female higher-ups. But it's dark, it's xenophobic, it's judgmental, and it all of that is incorporated. That's how the Federation is sold to us in Picard season 1. So they've devolved. Now, you can have Picard. You can have the Federation in Picard season 1. Now, let me draw a parallel to Star Trek 6: The Undiscovered Country with James T. Kirk. So you've got the Admiral from Picard, the sheer effing hubris Admiral, and you've got James T. Kirk in The Undiscovered Country in the conference room with Spock after he's just been told, by the way, you're going to host Gorkin. The difference is there, you've got the Federation being xenophobic, and then in The Undiscovered Country, you've got the Federation being the utopia, and the individual being, well, very much against helping these people. You've got them in Picard. They're questioning whether they should help the Romulans, and they're saying no, we shouldn't help the Romulans. We're an organization that doesn't help people. Whereas that's the contrast. That's where they've got things wrong, because individuals in Star Trek, classic Trek, are flawed. Whereas in NuTrek, the organization is flawed. And the individual matters more. It's like, you've got it all arse backwards. So, I know we've sort of ventured off at the topic a little bit, but Starfleet Academy is showing us a federation of feelings. The Federation wouldn't have survived. It wouldn't have lasted as long as it did up until the Next Generation DS9 and Voyager if it didn't have to at least be mature and grown up about its own existence and about what it provides. The Federation wouldn't have survived if it was ran by these children, which it apparently is in the future. I was thinking the other day, and I was thinking, certainly when I put that Picard video out, remembering it from mine and Gunner's stream last week, where, going through all the badness of Picard, and we missed so much. But I was thinking the other day about that parallel between Picard's Federation in Star Trek Picard, and the individual. I mean, Kirk's motivations are absolutely understandable, and that's what makes it such a great story. You can see his sort of hesitation to help the race that were, in essence, responsible for his son's death. Whereas Starfleet in Picard season 1 are literally, no, we're not helping anybody. It's like, do you understand what the Federation is? No. And, they asked the question in Strange New Worlds, what is Starfleet? And then they tried to answer it and got it completely wrong. It's like, what is Starfleet? Well, they're an organisation that wants to help arm races for war.
That was insane. That was absolutely insane.
That was the craziest stream.
Episode.
That was the funniest stream we've ever done. We were laughing our heads off at how ridiculous it was.
It was so... That episode, I think that was probably the worst episode of Strange New Worlds I've seen. I've seen them all. I mean, that was bad. Oh, because that was the one with those funny camera angles as well, wasn't it?
That was this one.
Oh, that was that one. and the space butterfly. Yeah.
Chernobyl's butterfly.
Oh no, God, yeah, that one. Oh,
awful.
No, awful. Truly awful.
I just can't get excited about anything to do with this new show. I remember back in the day where I never really warmed to the next gen films. I'll be quite honest with you. It was the original series films which were for me really good. They if you ask me what are my favourite Star Trek films, I mean I liked pretty much all of the original series I suppose First Contact wasn't bad in Next Gen, but I didn't like Insurrection. I wasn't too keen on Generations because I think they tried to do far too much in it. But what I used to remember, I don't know if you guys remember this, but I remember the teaser trailer that came out for the Undiscovered Country, and I think it was oh gosh, what's his name? How can I forget? He's the guy who played General Chang. What's the actor's
Christopher
name?
Plummer.
Yes, I think he did the voiceover for this teaser trailer, and my goodness me, the goosebumps, because I thought that the Final Frontier was going to be the final film. I thought that was it, and because he didn't do so well, I thought that's it. They've called it a day.
Don't end on that one. Yeah,
exactly. And because we didn't have internet and stuff in those days, it came as a complete surprise. Now I think I saw it. It was. I'm not sure if it was on the TV or was I at the cinema. You know, when they pull the trailers out. But whatever it was, the effects was quite astounding, and I'm like, oh my gosh, I got to watch this. You immediately want to watch it again. It was just a teaser trailer,
yeah,
but it has such a profound effect that I can't wait. And then you've got it's just, and one last, they're going to get together for one last time or whatever it was the words were that he voiced. It just blew my mind. And it wasn't nothing great about this trailer. It's just because it was there and because it's something that we absolutely love. And we thought, God, this is going to be great. The final film, what's it going to be about? And yet, now going fast forward to 2025, tail end of 2025, and we get this stupid trailer for Starfleet Academy. Number one, I would never watch it again because once was more than enough. And you just sit there with the same expression that I would have had when I watched Star Trek 6's teaser trailer, as in, but for very different reasons. I'm like, is this for real? I mean, there's no way I'm going to watch it again. There's no goosebumps at all. I'm like, are you popping out? No, nothing. And it's almost as if I felt embarrassed for the franchise. That's the only way I can describe it. Utterly embarrassed for the franchise. What is this nonsense? What is this? It's almost like it's just been cobbled together with a bit of AI writing the scripts and well, maybe not. I don't know, because you did that test, didn't you, with Stella and Watcher at that time, where the AI actually came up with a really good script, actually. So maybe it is.
Well, exactly.
So yeah, sorry, AI. I'll retract that statement. You're actually pretty good compared to whatever they've got on the books and their wages, whatever they're paying these people that write this nonsense. But it's just like felt like it's just cobbled together, and it's, what is this nonsense? It's just, it doesn't inspire you to want to watch it. I don't know. Maybe it does for other people, but not for me. Whereas the old school trailers, or even if it was for the shows, I'd be like, oh my God, I can't wait. Where's it going? Oh no, that's too long to wait. It's another 7 months to wait for that. You know, I felt I wanted to watch it right now. This, I couldn't care less if it never even shows or airs. That's the difference.
Would you find that? See, I suppose because that's the question. Is it the fact that we're just older and we're not able to get excited about stuff because we're becoming cynical with age? But then I've been sat here thinking, while you've been talking, I've been sat here thinking, when was the last time any one of my kids came running up to me and said that they're really, really excited for a show or a movie? And I can't think of a single instance. And I think that's another thing we've lost. The anticipation and excitement for something. Because, okay, yes, I think age has something to do with it. We do get a bit more cynical as we get older. But the anticipation, like you were saying, Guna, of seeing the trailer for a movie. Now, I had a great amount of anticipation for Star Trek 2009 because we hadn't seen Star Trek for 4 years, and I was thinking it's about time Star Trek came back to the screens. And that trailer, I thought, was brilliant. It had a great soundtrack to it. It had a great feel and vibe to it. Yes, it was action related, and it was J.J. Abrams, but he was a big up and comer. And I thought, finally, Star Trek gets the big screen treatment it deserves. I mean, I was a lot younger, of course, 2009. But I was that got me a little bit hyped up for Star Trek. What came after, I mean, the film itself wasn't overly bad. It was just a popcorn movie. What came after was just more and more disappointment, more and more cynicism. And I'm with you, I'd say almost all of the way with regards to the Star Trek movies, because the original series movies were Star Trek movies. They were Star Trek stories and concepts brought to the big screen. Whereas the Next Generation movies, I actually think that's where I think I'm not quite with you with terms of Generations, because mainly I think, well, that's a Star Trek episode brought to the big screen. It's a Star Trek concept. It's got it's got a science fiction concept to it. It does deal with morality. It does deal with ethical quandaries. It does deal with those situations. It wasn't executed well, and I think the decision to kill Kirk was probably one of the most tragic decisions that could have been made. But it, I give Generations a little bit of leeway, more than I do the likes of First Contact. Now, First Contact for a while, when I was growing up, was one of my favourite Star Trek films, because it was modern, the ship looked beautiful, and the effects were great, and there was a good amount of humour in it, and it kept me entertained. It did what a movie should do. But in Star Trek concept, the 3 final Next Gen films were atrocious, because they lack the concept of Star Trek.
Yeah. Sorry, go on.
No. You go, Gunnar. I would just agree with you.
I didn't not like Generations. I thought what it was. I think I agree with you. I think it was more of an. That's what I found about the next gen movies. For me, they were just super episodes. Whereas, as you said, the original, they were films, and I think the chemistry between Bones, McCoy, and Spock, especially, was so good in the films. Was so good in the films.
Yeah.
And I'm not suggesting for a second, because I've loved so many Next Gen episodes where there's been that, interaction between our main characters, and it's been hilarious, or it's been sad, or it's just had a positive emotional impact, whichever way you look at it, right? They've had that. But I don't think that was quite carried across in the films for me, in the Next Gen films. Whereas with the original series, it was superb. Yeah. It was just superb. And what with Generations, I didn't dislike the film. Believe me, I liked it for a lot of reasons. But I just felt they tried to do too much in one film. For example, giving Data emotions, the destruction of the Enterprise, the death of Kirk, meeting of Kirk and Picard. I mean, it was too much, I think, for one film. It was, if it had been toned down slightly and they focused maybe on one thing or a couple of those things rather than all of them, it could have been a lot better, in my opinion. But I'm not just suggesting again or saying that it was a bad film. I'll watch it again. It's got that rewatchability. I'll watch it again. I'll watch all of them again, to be fair.
Yeah.
I mean, I know Nemesis was one of a lot of people didn't like it, but I think I've watched Nemesis about 3 times. This is the point I'm making. Anything to do with old school Trek, I've watched probably all of it at least twice at some point. I have not watched any of, I was saying this last week, I've not watched any of the NuTrek again. Not one part. The only exception, I think, was a couple of parts of Picard season 3, not the whole episode, because I was just like, it was emotional. It hit me emotionally, and I just wanted to watch it again, right? And I think a couple of bits of Prodigy, because Watchdom knows I love Prodigy, that I thought, wow, that was brilliant. I need to watch that again.
Yeah.
But from that, there was something on Facebook, and this is a positive thing on Facebook, so I'm actually bigging up credit where credit's due. They asked a question to tell us that you're a Trekkie or a Trek fan. Quote one line that will tell us that you're Trek. And I put which one did I put? I put I'm not a merry man. But all the others, but all of them, I was reading through them, and I'm sure it won't surprise you that every single one was to do with original Trek.
Mhm.
Every single one,
Yeah.
whether that be Next Gen, DS9, original series, Voyager, Enterprise, none from the new Trek. And if I was to ask you to, or you ask me, quote me a line that has stayed with you, has impacted you, that you remember, you don't even think about it, from new Trek, I wouldn't have a clue, and I don't want it. To be fair.
I would. Now, it may not surprise you that I remember this quote from Discovery, not because it made me feel warm inside, but it made me rage. Science is so fucking cool. It's like, come on, really? That's the one quotable line I remember from Discovery. Science is so fucking cool.
But not for the right reasons.
Not for the right reasons.
Is there any lines you remember that I think, wow, that's really good?
I can recite Picard's line from First Contact. You know, the whale. You know, and I can recite most of Picard's speeches in The Next Generation. Because they're memorable, because they hit you, because they're well structured, well written. I'm getting a little bit behind with the chat, but I will get up to date with the chat. Hello, Tetrarch of Apathy, great to have you here, lurking in the background. Random Tangent, great to have you here. RNTNZ, still great to have you here. It's the power of math, people. Yeah. So. Yeah, they tried to do a Picard speech in Picard, and it didn't work because they didn't have the intelligence to write it. They didn't have that impact at all, and you know, to the point where I think it was the character of Rios turns to Picard and says, "I hear you're famous for your inspiring speeches," but there were none in the entire show. It was uncanny. And you know, you look at the episode in the Pale Moonlight, for example, from DS9. Every single word that is spoken by Benjamin Sisko in that personal log is so finely crafted to, you know, accurately, it's Sisko commentating on his own actions. In between what you're seeing, the structure of that episode is ingenious. The writing is, to me, is god tier, absolute god tier, and you compare that to new Trek. And now, I mean, we've nicely segued into the new versus the old Trek anyway. From the news, I assume that's all the news people want to hear about. But new Trek doesn't offer substance. It offers spectacle. In the Pale Moonlight, I think is the best Deep Space Nine episode. The Visitor is the one that hit me the most. And Duet is the one I went back and rewatched as an adult and thought, holy effing shit, this is incredible. 3 Deep Space Nine episodes that I've done special reviews on because I absolutely love them, because I've got nothing but respect for the people that wrote them, the actors that starred in them, the performances that they gave. And they are ridiculous. They are unridiculable as episodes. You can't, there's nothing in those episodes that you could denigrate, because they are absolute perfection in my opinion.
Can't say much to that, can you, really?
Name one new Trek episode that you could say the same thing about.
No. I can't.
There's nothing impactful.
Can I just say some news as well?
Go on then.
I don't know if it's. I didn't look too much into it because it's. That's not suggesting I'm not a Star Wars fan. Of course, I'm a Star Wars fan, but I'm a old school Star Wars fan, not the new.
Shocking,
rubbish.
surprising, isn't it?
Surprise. But recently, there's a couple of channels, and there's one in particular. I don't know if it's called Untold Tales. I can't remember what it's called. Maybe someone in the chat may know better. But they've been doing some great background stories with the characters that we used to love. Just adding to this story, how like a meeting of Palpatine and Darth Maul and they use AI, and it's brilliant. Even the way they've written it, what the characters say to each other. I think there's one where Anakin is talking to Padme, and then there's one where Obi-Wan is talking to. They've just added to the lore, if that's it. But it's all fan based, but it's still very, very good. And I think Disney, is it yesterday or the day before, has decided to not doing it anymore. And I don't know whether the channels are getting cancelled or they're getting whatever wiped out. I'm not sure. But Disney have come in, and it's so frustrating. This is what really, I hate swearing. It really pisses me off. I'm sorry to say.
That's all right.
That these guys are taking their own time out to give fans of the show or the franchise something to enjoy. And they've got nothing but positive. They've got hundreds and hundreds of comments, all great stuff. Brilliant, positive. Oh, that's amazing. If only Disney could do this. If only we could actually see this on the big screen. It's just great stuff. A little bit like Oi Toy did. It's similar. And they're going to get rid of it because they can't handle the fact that actually, why don't they look at it from a bigger picture and think, all right, we haven't done this, but it's obviously getting great feedback. So in a weird way, it's actually helping them. It's helping them because it's the Star Wars brand, right? No, we haven't done it. Someone else is getting the credit, and we're not having it. And they think, from what I heard, they're going to stop it, or they already have. And I'm just
cease and
I used to
desist.
look forward. I used to look forward to this channel to producing this stuff, and I just don't know what to say anymore. Why? It's like we're just being controlled. We are being indoctrinated.
Yeah.
To watch what we're told to watch, to behave in a certain way, to say what we, only certain things. Otherwise, everyone and their dog is offended, and it's just becoming too much. And when you're in a world where there's enough rubbish going on, I'll probably sound like an old record, said this so many times in the chat, but when you're in a position where there is so much strife, and you just want to get away from it all, but all you're doing, as you said earlier, exactly that. It's not escapism anymore. We're just going from our reality back to our reality again.
Yeah.
So why would we want to watch it in the first place then? We might as well just stick on the news and watch the 9 o'clock or the 10 o'clock news then, and just be depressed that about hell's just watching that. And that's great. In fact, watching the news is probably more entertaining than watching NuTrek.
Probably.
Well, exactly.
More positive as well. No, yeah, absolutely right. I mean, yeah, but Star Wars is now suffering with this, but Star Trek has suffered with it for years. All the fan projects. And you remember the ban on fan films? There were stipulations. Fan films could be no longer than 15 minutes long. And with the whole Axonar controversy, Stage 9, the very fan-made game that I have on my intro for this show, they had a cease and desist from CBS because they were building something really of great quality, and they were coming at it from a place of love. It was non-profit. They didn't profit from it. These people don't profit from this sort of stuff. It's the fans are making better material than the custodians of the franchises. So, why wouldn't you go to the fans and say, you've got some great ideas? The people who make these say, that's really interesting what you're doing. Do you want to have a meeting? Do you want to have a sit down? Do you want to have a get together? Do you want me to do? You want to do interviews? We'll show the love that you have for these franchises. But they don't. They behave like true classic narcissists. They cannot earn control freaks. They cannot have the fans making better stuff than they do. We're in control of this franchise. We create the content and you will like it. I'm sorry, but no. You know, again, with the Odyssey intro that we've done, that I've put out there on my channel, I got so much love for it. Yeah, there's a little bit of dislike for the Enterprise F, you know, and that's to me classic 90s nerddom disagreements and debate. Perfect. Bring it on. Absolutely. Some people love the D, some people hate the D, some people love the E, some people hate the E. Fine. But the majority of those comments that I got on those videos, on that credit intro, was, this feels like classic Trek. Why can't we have an intro like this anymore? Why can't we have this kind of feeling anymore? And I'm surprised that they've not come to my channel. Oh, okay, it's not big or anything, but I'm surprised they haven't actually, I don't know, in some way copyrighted it or something like that. It's just disgraceful the way that they treat their fans, and these are the customers. You know, we all work in business. We all work for companies that have customers. You don't go to the customers and tell them they're arseholes, that dickheads, and that they're wrong. You don't do that. You serve the customers. The customer's always right. The customer knows what they want. You don't take it away from them, and you don't change it, and you don't stifle them. And you don't claim copyright over a concept like a lasagna. You know? Oh, you can't make your own lasagnas. You have to buy our lasagnas. You can't make a lasagna and make it better, how dare you? We've got the patent on that. Lasagna is a bad example, but yeah, it's the right concept. It's disgraceful the way that these companies are treating the fans of these franchises. It's an absolute disgrace, and as far as I'm concerned, they should be ashamed of themselves, because the fandom's the heart of the franchise.
Yeah. And that's why you know the conventions aren't as well attended. That's why we have the massive viewership kind of drop off, because I think for people who are like millennials or Gen X, these are people that kind of like grew up with Star Trek and that love Star Trek and that have the money now to spend on going to conventions. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And you're not seeing those people still turning up, because I think a lot of people just got pissed off. They're just like, well, if Paramount, CBS, whoever don't want me as a customer, then that's fine.
Well, I wanted to go and meet Patrick Stewart for years and years and years. I said I'd love to have a sit down and have a cup of tea with Patrick Stewart. I don't want to now. I don't want to meet the man. And I suppose it's the old idiom, don't meet your heroes. But after everything that's happened, and after the fiasco of Picard, I've got no interest. I can say thank you, Patrick Stewart, for many years of great Star Trek, and as RRT and Z says, people slag off Stewart, but he delivers this line like a demigod, and absolutely spot on. The guy for many years of his career, fantastic actor. But as we've discussed in the past, Watch Nerd,
yeah,
I don't give a shit about your opinion on world politics. I don't care, because that's not what I'm here for. What I'm here for is to hear about your experiences on the set of Star Trek, your creative experiences with the people who wrote for the lines for you, your experiences on set with the people that you worked with, stories about other fans coming to you and wanting to be inspired. That's why I'm here, to learn more about this thing that I love. I'm not here, and I don't, and the fact that he superimposed his own life onto Picard's, I got no interest in that. That's not the character. I don't care about the actors' opinions. You know, I think Todd Stashwick is a superb actor. He's brilliant. He's absolutely brilliant. Could I give two shits about his politics? Absolutely not. I don't care, because that's not why I'm here. Do I like his character from Picard? Yes, I do. Very, very much so. I've come to... My mind has been changed on Shaw. I actually went back and watched some of my original reviews because I honestly thought that I slagged him off. But I didn't. I actually gave him some credit for the character. I was worried that I was too harsh on Picard, but I think I was actually quite fair with Picard season 3. You know, I think Jerry Ryan's portrayal of 7 of 9 in Star Trek Voyager was great. Voyager itself wasn't a great show. It wasn't very strong, but I liked the character of 7 of 9, and I liked her portrayal of that. Do I like 7 of 9 in NuTrek? Absolutely not. Why? Because do I care about Jerry Ryan's political opinions? Absolutely not. With NuTrek, they've lost the core of what made Star Trek great. So again, NuTrek versus Classic Trek. Classic Trek loved and adored its fans. NuTrek hates them. Actually hates them. And doesn't want the fans making stuff that's great. And evidence of this is all over the shop. Star Trek Prodigy cancelled after 2 seasons, and the creators essentially told to get the hell out of the Star Trek house. Terry and Metalis, get the hell out of the Star Trek house. You've made something that's infinitely better. These narcissistic fucks that they are. I don't mean to go off. I'm trying not to. But those narcissistic weasels turning and telling us that we're the problem and then kicking out people that make something that's actually not bad. It's good. It's not perfect, but it's closest to Star Trek as possible. And they're booted out. You know, kicked out of the club. And then we're hounded for our opinions. It's disgraceful behaviour. The industry is I think, is going through a period of self-awareness right now. But I don't know whether it's going to go through a period of change. But I would say that NuTrek hates its fans, and a Classic Trek adored its fans, and it still does.
As we were saying last week, it's the fans that brought it back. It was cancelled. Yeah. It was because of the fans that we have what we have. All right, if we don't pay much attention to anything after Enterprise, that's fine. But we got 5 damn good series, or iterations of Trek. Like you said, Voyager might be in a bit of a weak one, but generally, even that, I'd rather watch that 10 times over than watch one episode again. Yeah, and you do. So I feel that. How can I say? You made a reference to maybe it could be age, and I agree. I mean, I've become a cynical old git as I'm getting older. Believe me, I really am. But that's generally with life. You just learn from life experiences, and you just change as a result. And I was definitely more happy-go-lucky when I was younger than I am now, certainly. But that's because I'm just cautious to the rubbish that I've had to endure. But I will say one thing. If I see something that gets me going in the sense that, oh my God, that's brilliant, I could be 85 and I'll still be like I was when I was 7 years old. Mm-hmm. It's not about that. It's, you see, if there's something, I mean, look, Watch Nerd keeps, I mean, still haven't done it, so I feel bad, but I will try over Christmas. Watch Nerd was telling me over and over again, For All Mankind, Neil, watch it. For All Mankind, watch it. And I'm sure when I watch it, I'm going to be like, my God, this is just
Pringles.
Brilliant.
Once you pop, you can't stop.
Right. Okay.
I'm not joking.
Nothing to do with age, then, is it? It's nothing to do with age.
No.
It's to do with the quality of the writing.
Yeah.
It's to do with the quality of how you market it, how you.
It's a new fucking show.
It goes about bringing it out. Like I've referenced those old movie trailers, just to put that little seed of look at that. Look, we're going to be giving you soon. You're like, no, dude, no, I want it now. I can't wait.
Yeah.
I said, we had to wait ages. We had no media. We couldn't get leaks. We couldn't do anything. We had to physically wait to either BBC One or ITV showing it or going to the cinema.
And that was 8 months behind.
Yes.
The States.
Yes, exactly. Yes, correct. So, you know, us poor, we've gone through all of that era.
Yeah.
Right? Patience. We've learned patience.
Yeah.
Now everything is give me access now. That's another thing I think. Technology has been great in many ways, but in terms of accessibility, in terms of having everything there at your fingertips, it's just so easy.
It's awful. It's instant gratification.
I don't think that's a good thing for kids.
No, it's awful.
Anything which you can be proud of, whether it's be a piece of homework or a piece of art or anything, I think you should really have to work for it to really appreciate its value. Nowadays, it's like, I can just do it. And now, especially now with all this AI.
God.
You need to write an essay about, this and that. And then, and in the olden days, we're like, beginning, middle, and end, right? So how do I start this? And it used to be a ball ache, trust me, but we did it, for English, or language, or whatever it was, whatever subject it was that we were studying. Now it's like, chat GPT, yeah, mate, I've got to do this. It's there.
Just go slightly off topic here. I've got kids, yeah, and I swear, one of my kids handed in a piece of homework that was on an A5 notepad, torn out piece of paper, crumpled in their bag, and they got a passing grade for it. I'm not joking.
Gosh.
Remember when we had to do homework? It was neatly presented. And you had, and if you made a mistake, you had to get the Tipex out, and then you got told off for using Tipex. I mean, yeah, mate. You and I mean, I think we all could, even watch Nerd. Bless her.
They wouldn't mark it. If my homework was not neat, I had to do it again.
Exactly. From the beginning. Again.
It taught you lessons.
Yeah.
It taught you lessons. It taught you how to write neatly. It taught you everything.
Everything in structure and
exactly.
format.
It's just preparation.
We need to do an old geezer stream. What do you say?
but the point I'm making, this is why the writers, they haven't got a clue this day.
No, they haven't.
They just haven't got. It's all about, but we got to make sure we represent this person, represent that person, represent this. That's more important than actual storytelling. I saw this thing. I still keep going. I'll keep going back. This is a bit of Star Trek Academy that I've watched in terms of background. I looked at this actor and I thought, you are not a Klingon, mate.
No.
I know Klingons are not real life. I know that. I'm not stupid. But in my make-believe world of what I've grown to learn about them, you are as far removed as you possibly can be. Even in the old Trek where they had female Klingons, they were proper female.
Jesus
Klingons.
Christ! I'm sorry, but Grilka scared the shit out of me. And
even the Klingon Worf's mate, what was her name? The one played by, yes. Even she was brilliant. She was oppressive. She showed a little, because she was half human as well, wasn't she, or something? I can't remember. But she showed some kind of the feelings that everyone's, that's the big thing now, the buzzword now. But she did it it was a more kind of understanding way that you could actually relate to in real life, not the way it's done now. Everything is forced upon you now. You have to like this. This is why it's like this. You can't say anything bad about this person because they'll be offended. It's just ridiculous. It's just walking on eggshells. We are watching shows for our escapism in our own homes, whether we got our earphones on or everything else. We are watching it, and yet we're still being turned into drones.
Yeah.
I don't watch fantasy. I don't watch sci-fi. I don't read fiction for any of that. I read it for pure and unadulterated escapism.
Yeah.
And we are so far removed from that at the moment. And by the way, just watch that. I love your background and I love your funky headphones. They're really cool.
Oh, thank you. Yeah, my gaming headphones. Yeah.
Well, just to draw another parallel. Okay, so you've got in Academy, you've got Miss Socially Awkward. I can't complete a handshake, but I hear you, young individual. Now, just to draw a contrast, socially awkward characters have been in Star Trek before. Let us not forget Reginald Barclay, played by the tremendous Dwight Schultz, a socially awkward and socially inept constantly nervous, anxious character, Starfleet officer, and they were able to write him in write decent episodes that brought him out of his shell, and actually approached the character of Barclay and made us think about it from a different perspective. And this happens in my daily life as well, certainly with the work that I do, where there's a person, they're a bit of an oddball, yeah. You can't really get a reading on them, and they're socially awkward. They're fumbling their words. They're tripping over verbally and sometimes physically. And you think, you do often wonder if it's a bit of a struggle for you to get out of bed in the morning and be successful at it. You know, in that sense of, you're so awkward, you get in your own way. So I kind of had this admiration for people who manage to exist in the world and have found their own coping mechanisms. But besides that, there are people like that in the world, and Star Trek gave us one of those characters in the form of Reg Barclay. Struggled to speak up to his superiors. He kind of meandered his way through his days, and by the sort of 6th season, Reginald Barclay was actually quite strong and confident and a well-developed character. But it made you think. Star Trek made you think that it made you think. Look at the world a little bit differently. Well, maybe these people, yeah, they're a bit weird. They're abnormal, but they're human beings, and they have a perspective. They have a point of view. They may be socially anxious, and it leads you to a way of understanding that. Now, NuTrek Academy is trying a similar approach with this character, I feel, but monumentally cocking it up, because all apparently that you need is positive reaffirmation and positive words, and you go get it. That's not going to help. There's no understanding anymore. Barclay literally saved Voyager. Yeah, by the end, Barclay literally saved Voyager. But you get, and they're portraying social awkwardness completely wrong. I mean, I'm sorry, but there's a difference between being socially awkward and then unable to complete a handshake. Practically, throat punching someone because you missed their hand. It's completely bizarre to me. How, and they expect us to buy into this. I can't even. I don't think even the most socially awkward person would relate to that character at all. Original Star Trek made us think. It made us approach different situations from different perspectives. But again, with this character, well, we don't know her, but I've got no inclination to watch her journey at all, because she's just portrayed as just goofy mess. I'm not sure whether that made any sense, but I just think you're missing the mark. You're simply having this character in there to represent social awkwardness, and perhaps a bit of autism and a bit of ADHD. But you're doing it to tick a box. You're not doing it to portray a character. You're doing it to tick a box. You're making the Klingon... now, the typical Klingon traits would be classed as, quote, toxic masculinity. You could call I'm sure by modern standards, Klingons would be toxically masculine. So they've made the Klingon effeminate and, sort of a beta Klingon. People ain't going to relate to that. They're not going to be able to relate to it. It's going to be unrelatable. And at no point... it's the way you explore youth with Starfleet Academy is that you have episodes that are focused on each of the characters, but everyone gets an episode. You got, I don't know, you got probably 10 characters there in total. 10 episodes. Give each character an episode that focuses on an aspect of growth or you know, of personal challenge. Because they're young. They have to learn. Nope. The show's got a main villain, and it's going to be a mystery box, and it's going to be a season-long story arc about this main villain and his attachment to the grand freaking empress of Starfleet Academy.
Who sings the theme tune?
Oh no, I forgot that. So I'm going to sing the theme tune. Jesus. But no, you're right. You're right about you know, excitement for shows. We don't get that anymore. We don't get it from anything NuTrek. When I saw an advert on Sky One, I was Random Mates, and I saw an advert on Sky One for Year of Hell. The premiere of Year of Hell on Sky One back in the heyday. Yeah, first time it was ever shown in this country. My jaw dropped to the ground. I was like, look what they've done to Voyager. You know, they're oh my god, it's badly damaged. This looks amazing. This looks incredible. I'm so excited. I can't wait to see that. Can you record that for me on VHS? Bring it into school the next day. You know what? You know, can you please do that? Absolutely so excited to see it. I haven't been excited by a trailer since Resident Evil 2 Remake. 6 years ago.
You're on mute, Gunnar.
No. I'm just agreeing with that. That's exactly the point I was making. There isn't much now that can make you feel that, wow, I just can't wait to see this. And it's nothing to do with age. It really isn't. It's to do with, because it's just the quality isn't there. I was having a wild thought earlier today during my I don't know why my coughing fit brought it on, but it did. And I was thinking, because I try and be fair to everything. I do try, I believe it or not, as cynical and as miserable I am, I do try and be fair. I do try and play devil's advocate when I can. And I had a little thought, I'm thinking, what if we completely wipe the board or the slate clean completely, and just think that, I think timeline wise, I think Discovery is probably the first thing that comes along in Trek that's been released. I could be wrong. You guys can correct me if I'm wrong. And just imagine if there had been no Trek ever, as they say. Yeah, that's it.
To use a doomcockism.
Yeah. And Discovery was the first Trek we ever saw. Do you know what I was thinking to myself? I still think it's a pile of shite. That's the difference.
Yeah.
That's the difference between what we saw when it did come out in the 60s and the 70s with the first film, and then so on and so forth, 80s with Next Gen, and what's coming out now. And even if there'd been no Trek ever, I mean, we'd never even heard of it, and this was the first iteration of Star Trek, I still would have watched and thought, really? It's okay. We wouldn't have these discussions at what have they done to Spock, and because we wouldn't know any better, because we don't know who Spock is.
No.
So yes, granted, we wouldn't have all of that, and we might have liked some of it, some of the action sequences, but generally, we just think, I still probably would have hated her as much as I hate her now.
Oh, absolutely.
Can't stand her. Just can't stand her. And her sidekick, Tawny Newton, or whatever her name is. I just can't stand those two. I really can't. I just, even when I think about them, I want to hit something. But yeah, I would feel that it's still not great. It's not something that would compound me or compel me to keep watching. I can't wait for season 2. What's the cliffhanger going to be like? Do you remember the cliffhangers we used to have?
Best of Both Worlds, Equinox, Part 1.
Oh my goodness me!
Freaking! What was it? Oh no, what was it called? Favor the Bold.
All of that.
I'm sorry, but Favor the Bold had a freaking epic cliffhanger. Fantastic. Cisco flying in, in the Defiant to a mass armada of starships.
Oh,
fantastic!
And it just gets you going, doesn't it? It just gets you. and you want to see it now. You want to know what happens, but you have to wait. You have to wait.
Yeah.
You've got no choice. But
6
that's the
months.
thing. That's the great thing about it, though, because it leaves you on that knife edge of excitement and anticipation, all the positive emotions that you could possibly harbour. All this new stuff, I'm like, so what? I just, Washington has said it. I think all of you have said it. There's no rewatchability in any of it.
No.
I couldn't care less about any of the crews. Couldn't care less about any of the stories. If you said to me, "Oh, what did you think of that?" I'm like, I can't even remember it, maybe, so I don't want to remember it. As simple as that.
Yeah, and in some ways, that's what it's like for the youth now. That's exactly what it's like for the youth. They're coming into NuTrek and thinking, "This is a load of shit. This is awful," and they have no basis for for no comparison for the quality of what came before because they haven't watched it. No, that's why it's not doing so. It's not. This Academy show is not going to resonate with people. It's not going to bring anyone in. Because people who like to... This is something they don't get, and it really fucks me off. People who watch shows like Dawson's Creek and Beverly Hills 90210, or whatever the modern-day equivalent of that is, are not going to watch sci-fi. They're not interested in sci-fi. They don't care. They're not sci-fi fans. They're Dawson's Creek fans. It's for the same reason... For the same reason you're expecting people, Star Trek fans, to want to go and watch Dawson's Creek. They're not going to want to watch it because they've got no interest in it. You know? It's appalling. And we have a super chat again from RRTNZ. Oh, my word. Thank you so much, my friend. In my honest opinion, and I do agree with this, I had read ahead. In my honest opinion, the greatest character arc in all of Trek is Nog.
Yes.
Goes from being a cowardly, dishonest, greedy child to a loyal, courageous, clever war hero who overcomes PTSD and earns an officer's rank. Thoughts, mate? We've said it before on this channel and these streams. Nog is the greatest character arc of any Trek character whatsoever. He's got such great growth and development. I was absolutely gutted when Aaron Eisenberg passed away. Same with Rene Auberjonois. We lost Nog.
He was only in his 50s?
He was very young.
He was only in his 30s, I think, because he had a liver condition or something like that. It was something...
Oh my God.
He was very young, maybe 40, but not...
I think he was actually... He was close to 50.
Oh, really?
If not in his 50s when he passed. But yeah, I mean, it's still relatively young.
Yeah, he wasn't old.
And Nog's character. There's a moment for me. Well, there's two moments with Nog, and they're big moments, and they're moments that make me well up inside. The first moment is when he is the episode where he informs he tried to get Cisco to get him into Starfleet Academy, and the reason he gives is bloody moving as hell, because he said, "Why, Nog? Why do you want to join Starfleet Academy?" He says, "Because I don't want to end up like my father, hopelessly chasing profit that will never come, living in hope that one day he'll get the bar because my uncle dies." You know, he's a great engineer. He's great. He's so intelligent, but his potential is wasted. And I don't want to end up like that. I want to do something worthwhile with my life. And that moment, man, gets me every time. And the second one is, it's only a paper moon, where he's recovering from his PTSD. And after he's lost his leg in battle, and he's had this very maturing experience, this very intense experience. And he finally admits to Vic that he's scared. He's scared because he didn't think it would happen to him. And it's the same, and that's a very human thought to have. Oh, it'll never happen to me. It won't happen to me. The chances are astronomical that with people who drive dangerously. I think, accidents won't happen to me, until one day they've wrapped a car around a tree. Anything can happen to anybody. And Star Trek, it tells great stories because it tells true stories. Now they're not true as in, oh, this really happened on the Enterprise, because the Enterprise is not real, but it tells true stories. Relatable and yeah, exactly, relatable stories that people see in themselves through life experiences. Nog is one of those beautiful characters that I have adored for so long. And again, you know, we lost 2 DS9 greats so far. I think two of the best characters of Deep Space Nine. Don't get me wrong, Sisko forever, and that's another thing. Leave Sisko alone. Please leave Sisko alone. Don't. They're gonna do something in Academy with Sisko related. Don't do it. That will be the final nail in the coffin. But yeah, R&T and Z, superb. Nog, 100% agree. Catch up with a few chats here as well. Indeed, objects as the bad rather than comparatively bad. While DS9 doesn't have the best sci-fi writing, it does have the best character writing. Gul Dukat, mate, you're preaching to the choir. I've already said Gul Dukat is, I think, the greatest villain in all of Trek. Because he doesn't view himself as the villain. He views himself as the hero of his own story. But he doesn't realise how villainous he truly is. The scream Nog gives when his leg is shot off by the Jem'Hadar, Eisenberg absolutely sells it. Great acting. Again, yeah, Aaron Eisenberg, rest in peace, my friend. But you gave us so many moments. And again, we you know, I've just gushed about Nog as a character. Not one NuTrek character can I gush like this over.
And also, to add to that brilliant piece of acting, it must be harder to even do it through all those prosthetics, all the makeup. Yeah. You got to remember, that's not their true face. And they're still managing to come out with something that the viewers can see and feel through that makeup and all those prosthetics. It's incredible. Can I just cite one which I've always loved, and it's a character development in just one episode, and that's Iborg and Hugh. And I'll tell you, I love that episode so much. I was delighted to see the same character and actor back in Descent. It didn't really do it for me as much in Descent, but he was fantastic in Iborg, I thought. And talking about speeches that you remember and you hold dear, the one between him and Picard in the Ready Room, I'll never forget it. It was a superb piece of writing. Those things just stay with you forever. You know, he had that pretense of being Locutus to see if he wanted to find out if there is actual individuality in this humanoid. And he just says at the end, "No, I am Hugh." I died. I died. I was on the floor thinking, that is brilliant.
And it hits you again with rewatchability.
It's just, I've seen that probably 6-7 times, and it doesn't get boring. I know what's coming, and it still hits you with the same effect. Literally, it literally still repeats that emotion and positive emotion.
Well, that episode, if you think about it, 2 characters, 2 of our main, 2 Enterprise characters on the Enterprise went through exactly the same journey. Guinan and Picard, both coming at the Borg from distrust, dislike, hatred, whatever you want to call it. Fear as well. Both coming from exactly the same point. Different circumstances, but exactly the same point. And both reconciled with Hugh. And accepted him as an individual. Phenomenal. Absolutely phenomenal. But again, just to draw a comparison on the Nog thing, I love that point, Gunnar. And the Next Generation did so much. But just to draw a comparison again with NuTrek, that scene with Nog in It's Only a Paper Moon, where he's in tears and he's explaining to Vic that he's scared. He says, "I'm scared. I don't want to go back out there because I didn't think it could happen to me, and it happened to me." And the Dr. Bashir is saying, "I'm gonna lose my leg," and he's in tears. And Vic just goes, "You've got to live life. In here isn't real. Out there it's real. At least you're gonna be a part of a real existence." Vic is not crying. Now, you put the same scene through a NuTrek filter, they're both going to be crying. They're going to be hugging it out. They're going to be, "Oh, Nog, you're so amazing. You're so strong. You got this. You can do this, Nog." And that's all it's going to be. Whereas Star Trek, it treats the situation with such maturity. Because you have that contrast. You have the grown-up. It's hologram. It doesn't matter. You have the grown-up. The older, wiser, speaking to the younger generation, saying, you can't hide away. You've got to get out there. Yes, you can tell through the Vic character, you can tell that he's really empathizing and he's feeling, deeply for Nog and the journey that he's gone through. But he's not crying with him. And he's not saying, "You got this, you got to go out there and do it." He's saying, "I know it's hard, but really, here are your options. You stay in here, you die a little bit every day because it's not a real existence. Or you go out there and get back on with your life." NuTrek wouldn't do that. It wouldn't absolutely not do that.
Just going back on that Hugh episode, I just remembered he actually sacrifices himself. Well, at least his individuality or chance at a life of living an individual because he was offered, immunity. And he says no because I'll put you all in danger. And he makes the decision to have his mind white, if you like. And it's just that tiny little thing, and he's being transported back. And he just gives that tiny little glance to Geordie, even after he's reintegrated, to make you think that, oh, hang on. And obviously then we find out in Descent what is the consequence of that. But as a standalone episode, just to see all of that and that little glance, it was just wonderful to see. And I agree. I totally agree with the Nog thing as well. I mean, I remember I was trying not to. It was a bit of a choking moment, lump in the throat when he was saying, "I'm scared. I don't want to go back. I can't go back out there." And it's, to me, in for different reasons in life and what I've gone through, I can totally relate to that. You just relate to things like this because it's powerful, potent, and it's relevant. It's relevant to your own experiences, and all this new stuff for me is not relevant. It just isn't. You're being forced to comply. I don't want to be forced to comply. What happened to your freedom of speech, and what happened to your own individuality? I feel like we are being turned into the Borg Collective with this NuTrek, because we're all told this is how it is and this is what we're supposed to say, and yes, you've got to represent X, Y, Z and all of it equally. Well, I don't mind representation, but equally and more importantly, I want good storytelling. It's quite simple, really.
I mean, when anyone was watching, anyone in this stream was watching Deep Space Nine for the first time and seeing the opening scene of the Battle of Wolf 359. And again, J.G. Hertzler's range. He played a Vulcan as well. He was the captain. Was anyone thinking, "Oh, bloody hell, the colour of the captain's skin"? No, but I can tell you now, no one was thinking that. They were thinking, Jesus, this guy's just lost his wife. This is a Borg attack. This is Wolf 359. Yes, as fans, we finally get to see Wolf 359. But this guy's just lost his wife. This guy is, and this guy's angry at Picard, and you feel that hate, that almost hatred from Sisko directed towards Picard because of what happened. Now, NuTrek's tried to copy that as well with Shaw, and I wasn't overly keen on the idea, but again, it's just a revisited idea. But I never, ever, ever gave a shit about the fact that Sisko didn't look like me. It didn't matter. It was a story, and it was a fantastic fucking story. It wasn't the point. The point was Deep Space Nine. The story of Sisko is phenomenal. No one was giving a crap about that. Well, since when? Why has that become a priority over good storytelling? Doesn't matter. It never has. If anyone was raised with any kind of morals in this world, people were colorblind. They didn't see that. Yeah, I know it's a relatively new thing. It's within the last 50 years, but stop doing that and start focusing on storytelling again. That's the important. That's why we're here. We don't.
And good actors that can do the job.
Yeah.
Not actors that have, for example, that show that Marvel did. Was it called Echo? Oh my god. The woman had never acted before. She had zero acting experience, but she was brought in because I think she had lost half her leg, which is what the character had, and then she had was she deaf? I don't know. There was some other. She had some other challenge. There was 2 challenges that she had, and that's the only reason. Oh, and she fit the bill in terms of the cultural background as well. But you've got no acting experience, so okay, physically you might fit the role, but you can't act, or you haven't acted. So how does that work? And she was appalling. She had one expression throughout the whole series, one expression, no matter what the situation. She couldn't act. No acting range, nothing whatsoever. And it just makes you think, yeah, maybe certain people in reality are more suited to play a particular role because they are going through the same thing, but that doesn't make them particularly the right person because maybe they don't have the acting prowess. So what's more important? You're trying to portray something you are actually representing because you're portraying that person. Does it matter that they have that disability or not? Does it matter that they have that sexual preference or not? It's about who can do the best job, isn't it? Well, that's how I see it. Maybe I'm wrong, but that's how I see it. So like you just said, you didn't see colour when you saw Sisko.
No.
I've suffered racism to a really bad extent when I was growing up in the 70s and 80s. I didn't look at Kirk and think, oh, why is he an Asian guy? Never.
No.
I never. I never looked at any. I just looked at the cast. Thought, oh, I wish I could be on the Enterprise. I wish I could be Kirk.
I saw.
It didn't matter. You see that?
I saw Kirk. I saw Uhura. I saw Spock. I saw Sulu. I saw Chekhov. I did not see any difference between them because wasn't my focus. It never was. And why should it be? It shouldn't be. It's not. It's not important. The characters are what matters in television. Without it, you don't have anything. And just again in contrast, Star Trek has promoted science and it has had its share of guest stars. Okay, is it Dr. Mae Jemison? She was in an episode. She played a transporter officer. She was the first African American astronaut.
Was it Descent?
Sorry,
was it Descent?
It may have been Descent. Yeah,
I remember which it was. Yeah.
And that was celebratory, and that was great. It was wonderful to see. Star Trek's always done that, and it's always celebrated diversity, but it's never once shoved it in your face and said, look what we're doing, look what we're doing, look what we're doing. And it never did that through the narrative. NuTrek does that. And I don't really want to go down this road on this channel. I try to avoid it wherever I can, but it's hard to avoid when you're discussing the differences between two very polar opposites of a single franchise. Because this is modern. Trek has it's fallen it's fallen foul of this this need to go, look how wonderful we're being. Well, actually, you're not, because this is where original Trek was a lot better, because it never made a point. The media made a point of it, but the show never did. The show didn't care. Nobody in that, no character in DS9's opening episode went, oh, look, we've got a black commander. They just went, it's Commander Sisko. Didn't matter. Oh, look, I don't recall Paris and Kim coming onto Voyager and going, blimey, there's a woman captain. No character did that because it didn't matter. Again, the media makes a big deal of it, of course, because marketing and all of that, because the story's in it. But the show never did. The show didn't need to. I mean, Watch Nerd, you're of the female persuasion. Did you feel sufficiently represented in Star Trek Voyager? Do you like being represented by Insane Way?
Insane Way. Yeah, I know. Like so Sisko's my favourite captain, to be honest with you.
As in. Same here.
Yeah, I mean, I liked Janeway in many ways, and I think I liked watching Voyager as a kid because she's just so determined and such a good leader in some ways. But I think the writers of Voyager maybe struggled to portray her in some ways as well, because she seemed on occasion to be a bit of, as we said, in the same way. Like the whole Tuvix thing was a bit mad. But I guess, yeah. But I guess on the other hand, you could say it is obviously very stressful, like commanding a vessel that's thousands of light years away from home. You might not see, none of your crew will see their families again, in all likelihood. So I can also see that argument. But I thought she was well portrayed, really. She's quite a well-written character. Kate Mulgrew is a great actress, as we all know. Yeah, no complaints there. My only real gripe with Voyager in general is that it was so hit and miss.
Yeah.
So hit and miss as a show. And I've seen all of the episodes, but some of them are awful. Some of them are very good. I found season 4, once 7 of 9 came in, at least you had that character development that she had. And Jerry Ryan did it very well. She's a very good actress.
Yeah.
She's obviously a bit, very unhinged physically, but she's a very good actress, and she did that very well. And the stories were good. So.
But that's our focus, isn't it? 7 of 9, the characters are our focus, not the actors.
Yes.
And I will just hate to interrupt you, Watching, but Clayton Rumley is in the chat as well. Paris did call her mom in the first episode, which Jamie objected to. Yeah. But I mean, it didn't blatantly come out and say, "Oh, look, it's a female captain." Welcome to Clayton Rumley, by the way, big friend of the channel, great author as well, and a great creator. He's far surpassed this channel, so many congratulations to him for that. It's an absolute phenomenal achievement. Well done, Clayton. And hopefully we'll have Clayton back on the channel once he finally gets some time in his busy schedule to come back onto the stream. But yes, stars. Yeah, the thing is with I know, Goonie, you mentioned representation. Representation is I think never a bad thing if it's not the main focus of what you're doing. Because I don't need to feel represented. I don't look at Gordon in the Orville and go, there's a guy, he's got a ginger beard, just like me. Now I feel represented. It doesn't work. I don't. That's not why I'm there. You know, and we've talked about For All Mankind, Watch Nerd. Oh, bless you, Clayton. Hi there, popping in briefly while riding the bus in snowy Winnipeg. Bless. I know you have pretty extreme weather over there in Canada, in Winnipeg. I hope you get home safely, my friend, and hopefully, like I say, I'd love to have a catch up chat with you, even if it's just a phone call, mate. So yeah, let us know your availability on that one. But yeah, For All Mankind. Watch Nerd. Now you could say that there's many quote woke elements in For All Mankind, because there is. It deals with those elements, but they are pivotal to the time, the era that the different seasons set in. They were hot topics of the times, but they don't do it for the sake of doing it. It's integral to the story. It's not just there for show. And it's not a detriment to the show either.
Yeah, well, exactly. I mean, I don't really like the word woke. It's very overused these days. I don't think anyone really knows now, but what it now means.
It's too broad now.
It's too broad, and sometimes some people use it in a very derisory way, and some people use it in a very complimentary way. So, I think like sci-fi has always kind of been quite inclusive, just from the very nature of like it being, quite forward leaning, you know, and wanting to represent in general, specifically with Star Trek. Obviously not with other sci-fi perhaps, but with Star Trek more of a kind of hopeful future. So that's why the original series, obviously, you had like, you know, Nichelle Nichols on the bridge, when I believe I'm correct in saying at that time that the original series was airing, some parts of the US still had Jim Crow. I believe I'm correct in saying that, because I believe, so obviously anyone can fact check me in the chat if I am wrong, but so it's as I say, and she was obviously portrayed as being, you know, a member of the crew, which in some states in the US at that time would have been quite something. You know, you had a Russian on the bridge, you know, during the Cold War. So there's quite a lot of
Yes, progressive. It's always been progressive.
Yeah.
But it's never been aggressive with it.
No, and it's what it did well, especially the original series, I've got to say, is it abstracted stuff just enough away from the current time. It didn't current day the audience, so that it could kind of present these different ideas in a way that didn't antagonize half the people watching the show, which I actually think is incredibly impressive.
Oh yeah.
Especially with, you know, that time in the US particularly. So it's so strange now to see how it's come 60 years later, where it's actually like almost having the opposite effect, in that it's being so in your face with current deisms, it's almost forcing people to be like regressive in their views. Do you know what I mean? Like it's kind of, I struggle with that. Like, for example, you know, in the original series, they made an analogy to the Vietnam War without, obviously, but it wasn't to current day. Whereas Discovery obviously have to have Stacey Abrams as the president of Earth. They can't.
It was a bad move.
Yeah. It's really poor writing. It was just poor taste, and especially, you know, the US being as divided as it is. I just don't think it's just not the ethos of the franchise to do that. So yeah, I think woke is an overused word, but yeah, it's always been very progressive, I suppose. I mean, in the 90s, you know, if we're just gonna look at people's skin color, if that's the way we're gonna do it, fine, whatever. You obviously had Cisco, who's a black man who is a single father, who is in charge of Deep Space Nine.
Yeah.
So that was mid 1990s, you know. So yeah.
I mean, it covered it in Far Beyond the Stars. I mean, as well. But I don't know. The thing is, I don't like to use the term woke, because again, it has been co-opted, twisted, extended, broadened, to such a degree, it's become such a general term. Yeah, I agree. I don't like using it, but I certainly would never. And my point is, I would never describe any kind of classic Trek as woke, because that's the argument that a lot of people make. They'll say Star Trek's always been woke. And my argument has always been no. It's always been progressive. It's always tried to say how things should have been, or see how things should be, rather than any kind of doctrine or indoctrination. And it never pushed its ideologies. It's always just says, this is what we're presenting, this is how it is. Now we're going to tell stories. And any sane human being would say, let's see your stories. Not and don't get me wrong. I'm sure it was having Avery Brooks as say the anchor actor, and Sisko being the main character, inspired as much as many black people as Nichelle Nichols did on the bridge of the original Enterprise, and it's a phenomenal thing. But you don't. And it feels like such a minefield. This stuff should be discussed openly without fear of being, accused of anything. But I'm just never someone who saw any kind of issue with any of that stuff. It was never why I was there. I was there to see human beings who have gotten past all of this shit that we seem to be worrying about. It got past poverty, it got past racism, sexism, and it got past war and disagreements. We'd sorted our shit out. And in some ways, my attitudes towards all of this stuff is because of Star Trek. But it never needed to brag about it. It's just how it was.
That's the difference, isn't it? I mean, you mentioned Chekhov, and you got Uhura, you got Sulu, you got all of that in the original series. But whilst it was different, brave in that era, very brave, I have to say. Roddenberry, whoever the masterminds behind all of that brought that to life, brought that to being something that was on TV for people to watch. I thought it was extremely brave. But as a viewer, certainly from my point of view, I never saw anything. Like you just said, I just saw 7. If there were 7 main characters, I think 7's quite a common number, isn't it? Quite a few shows like this, 7 or 8 was like the 7 main characters in Next Gen, 7 main characters in the original series. I just saw people. I didn't see anything beyond that. And yes, it is progressive, but it's something that's just there. And it's not. They're not making a point of it. They're not like opening up with a trailer saying, "Oh, and look at this Russian who's going to be on the bridge, and look or look at the helmsman. She's of color, but she's going to be a helmsman. She's going to be a bridge officer." It's just they're just there, and that's it. That's as much as they need to say, and that can be impactful to any individual in any way it needs to be. Yeah. But it's not drilled down your face, right? So this is the annoyance that I have. I go and make comments on this new shows, whether they be Trek or even if they're Star or whatever it is that I'm disillusioned with. Marvel, all of it, it's the same. And for example, there was one fairly recently where I just didn't like the character. It just so happened she'd be female, but I just didn't like the character. It's nothing to do with the fact of what gender she was.
Yeah.
Straight away, some idiot goes, "Oh, what, you're scared of a strong woman, are you?" And I'm like, okay, all right. So I'm scared of a strong woman. Okay, that's funny because I think my mum is the most strongest woman that I've ever met. I've grown up in a country which, until very recently, had the Queen, not a king. I went through all of Margaret Thatcher's years, woman. I watched Star Wars, Leia, Princess Leia. I think I mentioned in the last week's show. Leia, very strong. Ripley, 1979, very strong. One of my favourite characters in Star Trek Next Gen is Edson Rowe, who happens to be a female.
Yeah.
So it's nothing to do with not being scared or not liking strong women or thinking, oh my God, that's a woman, she's strong. Oh God, I better start saying bad things about her. I don't like the character.
No.
Whether she's pink, black, orange, green, whatever. She could have been an Orion female. I might not have liked her because I don't like the character. Because old Trek didn't force this down your throat. They were just there. They were just there. That's it. Done. Right? You had Geordie with the visor, effectively sighting a blind man.
Yeah.
Right? So you had all of that. But it didn't force it down your throat. We had a story as to why maybe he lost his sight, and then that was it. We just accepted this guy's poor bloke actors walking around with this thing over his eyes for 12 to 14 hours a day, having to act with that on. I think he did make a point of it that he was so sick of it at one point.
Yeah.
So bad when I think in the films when they eventually put, they cloned his eyes or something, didn't they? I can't remember what they did.
Implants.
Implants, that's right, yeah. So, it's just accepted. We accept it. We're happy that it's there. It's great to see visually for all people of different walks of life. It's great, but we're not going to make too much of a deal of it because we don't have to. So we are retaliating, I feel, because it's just pushed into us so much over and over again. The Starfleet Academy girl who can't shake the hand, and it's too much. Yeah. It's too much. We don't need to have that. We're not stupid. This is what I was saying. I feel insulted a lot of the time because we're talked down as if we're like stupid kids.
Yeah. Oh
no, this is what you have to watch, and this is what you have to do, and this is how it's going to be. Yeah, we're not children. I'd say that a lot of people that are, particularly Star Trek, I'd say, are at a fairly, decent, intelligent level, and I'm not trying to discriminate with that either. We could be of all walks of life. We could be academics. Might not be academics. We don't know. It doesn't matter. But what I'm trying to say is we're not stupid. Yeah, we understand. So you don't have to kind of write it out for us. They might as well put subtitles on these things, and this woman's going to be this, or this man's going to be this, and this Klingon's going to be a bit more. You might as well just do that, because I find it very patronising. That's the point I'm trying to make. I don't know if I've come across clear or not, but I find it all very patronising.
You come across clearer than I do, because I struggle with my words. Now So when I was young, I had a neurological disorder brought on by a childhood virus. I had that for 6 years in my life, and I fitted quite a lot. It's done some damage to my brain, and I stutter now and then, and I struggle with my words. I've got very few usable teeth at the back of my mouth, which means that I do have a slight speech impediment. I'm occasionally quite anxious and a little socially awkward. I'm a little bit of a hermit at times, but I've been relatively successful in my life. I've got a wife, I've got kids, I've got a job, yada yada. I can drive, and yada yada yada. So I've had certain challenges throughout my life. You've had a different set of challenges throughout your life. Watch Nerd, you've had a different set of challenges throughout your life. We're all very different people. But I think I can speak for you guys right now when I say Star Trek had such a big impact and influence on our lives. It inspired us to be better than what we were. We were not one of them was a victim. Not one of us were a victim of any of those things. We weren't playing a victim of any of those sorts of things. Star Trek taught us to move past these things, to overcome adversity, it inspired us to be better than what we were. I know that no one is going to be able to pat me on the back when I'm feeling down and say, "You go, mate. You've got this. I know you can do it." Because I don't need that in my life. I don't need a fucking show to tell me that either. What I need a show to do is to tell a story about overcoming adversity and a struggle to inspire me to go, actually, I can do this. With NuTrek, they don't do that. They don't. The characters don't overcome anything. They're just told that they're amazing to begin with. I mean, it was raised in the chat about Tilly. Yeah, RNTNZ said in Discovery Season 1, I went in hopeful. I was hoping that Tilly was going to become a capable, mature leader, a bit like Nog. But they utterly failed with that character. They did. Tilly didn't evolve. She didn't move past any of her inherent flaws or overcome any challenges. They just wrote her as this amazing person. So, but there's no overcoming adversity. We've all done it in our lives, in part due to Star Trek. Star Trek doesn't treat it, and you're quite right, Guna. Star Trek doesn't treat us like NuTrek doesn't treat us like adults. Star Trek did. Even when I was 5, okay, yes, I like the bright, flashy lights and the phasers and the spaceship battles and everything.
Yeah.
But over time, from the age of 5, Star Trek was teaching me how to be a decent human being. And it wasn't telling me to be, it was showing me decent human beings. In some ways, we all grow up as a result of our environment. It's nurture, right? We're nurtured by our environment and the people around us. And it's a constant battle between nature versus nurture. Star Trek, when you grow up with Star Trek, you're growing up with people that have admirable traits. I cannot and refuse to show my children any type of new Star Trek. I always stick old Star Trek on. They love it, and they don't like Star Trek, but they love it.
Yeah.
I know, Guna, that you're gonna have to shoot, my friend. I appreciate you popping in and staying for as long as you did. So I really do thank you so much for joining.
No, I'm really sorry, guys. Firstly, let me thank you for allowing me to come on impromptu like that, and the wonderful chat has been amazing. I try to interact normally, but I just haven't these last 2 streams, so I apologise for them. But they've been brilliant as well, everyone in the chat. But I just want to thank you and Watch Nerd for allowing me to share the evening with you. But I am flagging now. I'm going to take some time to make myself a hot drink or something, because I'm struggling a little bit. I'm gonna go, but I want to say thank you so much, and I want to wish you all a very Merry Christmas. I want to wish you have a great new year, and I hope 26 is good for all of us, and I hope to see you again soon on your next 10 Forward as well, which I think is in 2nd of January. You're doing it?
2nd of January, my friend. Yeah,
there you go. So I'm looking forward to that. But I just want to say thank you, not only for allowing me to come on from last week, but also, as I said last week, the welcome that I've had from all your community, yourself, Watch Nerd, all of you guys. You know who you are. I've been incredibly touched. I just want to say that. So, thank you.
My friend, you're always welcome. And you look after yourself. You feel better soon.
Thank you.
And we shall see you next year.
Yes.
All right,
see
my
you
friend.
next year, guys.
Take care, Guna.
See you later.
Thank you very much
Guna.
for joining. Bye-bye.
Take care. Bye-bye.
Yeah, we've got about 20 minutes left if you're okay to keep going, Watch Nerd.
Why not? Let's go.
See the new year out.
Why not?
We've discussed a few different. We've gone off on a few tangents, but I think primarily, and I don't really want to get into the whole because everything's political now. Everything's been politicized now. Identity politics and all of that stuff, and it is very prominent in NuTrek. But I guess our point is, in old Trek, it was prominent in old Trek, but it was subtle, and it was there, and it was widely accepted by everybody. But NuTrek sort of wants that affirmation of acceptance constantly.
Yeah.
And I think that's off-putting for a lot of people. And I think that's why a lot of people, one of the many reasons people tend to steer away from NuTrek. Now, I've given some sort of some comparisons. I want to revisit this subject next year as well, of classic Trek versus NuTrek, because I don't think we've only covered a small segment of it tonight. Obviously, it's a much bigger thing. But
even how Section 31 is portrayed is weird in Old Trek versus New Trek.
It's unbelievable. It's unbelievable. It's directionless. There's no. It didn't earn anything. That movie earned nothing. It presented us with characters that we didn't care about. We didn't know. We didn't get to know them. It just exploited a concept. It was honestly, it felt like a bunch of random kids in a playground playing with random toys that they found, just smashing them together. That's all it felt like to me. Monk of Magnesia. Hello, my friend. It's been a while. TOS had episodes and actors who fought in World War II, which ended just 20 years before the show started. Yeah, we were talking about life experience of the writers, the actors, the creators. And you've got a lot of big projects nowadays being helmed by people who have never created. It's their first writing credit. It's like, what are you? Why? Yeah, you got to get young talent. So you have them shadow writers. You have them, in the background, learning the processes, learning the characters, and then you bring them in and say, right, okay, co-write this episode with me. You don't just throw them straight into a big Hollywood movie or here's a you can write 5 episodes of Star Trek freaking Starfleet Academy, and that's what they do. It's like people who have no writing credits. My ride is nearing its end. I want to wish you and your viewers a very happy Christmas and all the best for 2026. Clayton Rumley, everybody. Check out Clayton's channel. Please subscribe to Clayton's channel if you haven't, and Gooner's channel as well. Links are in the description. Clayton is a really good long-time friend of the channel. He's a great author. If you haven't bought Holocene off Amazon, please go and buy Holocene. It's a fantastic book. It's a great read. I couldn't put it down. And there are 2 more books coming. Clayton's channel is going. He's growing in leaps and bounds. So well done to him, and much more success to him in 2026. Thank you so much, Clayton, for joining the stream. It's been a pleasure having you all here. I'm questioning Watch Nerd. I don't want to put anyone else through Academy, if I'm honest.
Yeah, it's going to be bad. I mean, that's the thing. It's like if I had to, I'd watch it, but I don't. I'm not. Yeah. I think your 50-minute reviews will be funnier when you just watch it and then you're just like off the cuff, because it's not going to be. Because the thing is, any 10 forward discussing one of those episodes, yeah, it'll probably be funny for the first couple of weeks, but then it's just going to be like, there's nothing of merit probably to talk about, so it's kind of a bit depressing because it's just,
Well, I mean, I don't want to put you through it. I'm gonna have to think about this over New Year. Gooner with a £10 super chat. My friend, you didn't need to do that. Bless you. Wanted to thank the panel and the chat and to wish you all a very Merry Christmas. Gooner, my friend, you're very welcome. Extreme close up again. I have to like heart this. But thank you so much. That's not necessary, but thank you so much. I have to leave soon as well. God bless you all and good night. Tetrarch of Apathy. Thank you very much. Yeah, I'm gonna do some thinking, because I'm not. It's gonna be a big ask to simply review this show. A lot of YouTubers are saying that they're done, that they're not going to be touching it with a barge pole. I think it's going to be a real, genuine struggle, and it's okay for Strange New Worlds because you've got a point of reference there, and it says a lot because I'm not an aficionado on the original series, so a lot of Strange New Worlds sometimes I just get it wrong, and I don't. There's a couple of facts that I've gotten wrong, a couple of ship designs, stuff like that. But it really says a lot when I think it's going to be easier to review Strange New World season 4 than it is going to be to review Starfleet Academy.
Yeah,
so
I agree.
I may restructure 10 Forward next year. I mean, this is just an idea off the cuff.
Mm-hmm.
But if I came in and did a, just to save you bloody watching it, because I couldn't do that to you. I don't think I could do that to anyone. I'm not sure Zell's has got enough in him to not go freaking nuts with Academy as well. I'll have to think about it because it's going to be a shit show.
Yeah.
And I just don't know whether covering it into 10 Forward is going to be any good.
Well, that's the thing, and I think a lot of people are just apathetic to it.
Mm-hmm.
Do you know what I mean? Like, that's why YouTubers aren't going to cover it, is because they know it's not going to be good for the algorithm, because no one's really interested. No one wanted this show.
Nobody. Well, we wanted this show
Nobody
in the
asked for
90s.
Yeah, exactly. Not now. Whereas at least Strange New Worlds, at least there was some. You had to obviously Pike in Discovery, so there was at least some kind of want for a show.
Yeah.
Initially.
Yeah.
But yeah, not Academy. People wanted Legacy, but they're like, no, that's Metalis, so you get Academy. Great.
Well, like I say, anything
Whatever.
that we liked in NuTrek. Yeah, no, they can't stand to have it in there, can they? So, yeah, I'm going to think about it, guys. I mean, it all depends because I honestly think that it will do the algorithm good for me to do a live stream about Starfleet Academy, but I may just. How about this? Instead of reviewing it week by week on live stream as well as me doing a review, why don't we do the first episode? I'll just put it out there. Anybody who wants to do an evening in 10 Forward after the premiere of Starfleet Academy, watch their first episode, and we will do the live reaction on 10 Forward as well. We'll do the review as well on 10 Forward, and after that I'll just do my reviews and we cover other things, because I've got a feeling this show, the first episode is where it's all the algorithm's going to be at, and then it's going to tank. It's going to absolutely tank after the second episode, or after the first episode, I reckon.
Yeah, because no one's going to want to watch it. That's the thing. People might watch the first episode out of morbid curiosity.
Exactly.
But it's going to be very bad. There'll be a lot of derisory reviews. People will be like, oh, yeah, obviously, we knew it would be. And then people just lose interest.
Yeah. Well, it's what happened with Strange New Worlds. Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Yeah, it happened with Discovery Season 5. Nobody cared.
Yeah.
Nobody cared about Discovery Season 5. It will be great for your channel. Yes, it will. But I'm not certain I want to do that. I don't want an algorithm chase. I'll do it for the first stream because we get a bit of momentum, and we may mention a few things. It may be a case of I discuss a few bits that weren't in my review week by week. But I want to keep covering topics like this. I want to do something. I also want to branch away from Star Trek a little bit, because we want Star Trek to go into a hiatus. I want to start branching out to other sci-fi, maybe movies. Just reviewing movies. There's got so much to talk about. Hell, I'll sit and talk Die Hard with someone. I don't really. I want to try and branch the channel out a little bit. From Star Trek, because we've done 78 episodes on Star Trek and a couple of other different sci-fi bits as well. But for the most part, I could talk Star Trek till I'm blue in the face. But I think it'd be great to sort of branch out and do some films, some other TV shows, best of British comedies, best of American comedy, whatever takes our fancy. But there's always more to talk about.
I agree.
Than simply Star Trek. So yeah, are you all right with that? Do the first episode, and then after that we'll move on to other things. Because I have a feeling I'm not going to be, I'm not going to, and no one's going to want to go back to it after the first episode. Except the fans of the EMH.
I know.
Bob, what are you doing?
I
Seriously,
know.
Bob. Because money's not good for you.
Maybe not.
Yeah, clearly not. So yeah, guys, if you haven't already hit that like button, please remember to hit the like button on the stream. And for anyone watching post live, share it. Get it out there. I know that the Drinker does a lot of video reviews, movie reviews and stuff like that. He's much better at the YouTube game than this channel will ever be. But I love meeting people here on a Friday night, and I know we've gone for this new format, and hopefully more and more people will come in, and more and more people will want to get a turn talking on this show. I can't thank you and Zell enough, to be fair, for coming in every Friday, giving up your Fridays. But I want to try and get more people on, talk about
100%.
different things, try and grow the show a little bit, and move forward. But yeah, let us know, anyone, of course, let us know if there's some subjects that you'd like us to talk about or want our opinion on. That would always be awesome. So in closing, Star Trek is, well, I think, dead. I saw a nice little video that someone, I can't remember his name, but he'd done like a Star Trek memorial service or whatever it is. Star Trek memorial is fantastic. It was so well done, and it was only a 3-minute video, just breaking down the failures of modern Trek, and it has failed. It's a failed project, but they're doubling down. They're not admitting it, and I think that's another place where they'll lose people, is because they're in denial. They're just going, no, it's working fine. This is fine.
Mm-hmm.
This is you're wrong. It's successful. It's like, it's clearly not. Even with the algorithm suppressing people, it's clearly not working. You've got a failed project there, and I'm sorry, but in some ways we were right about the guys at Otoy and Carlos. We were right about unification. What it did, it was the silver bullet to NuTrek, because what it did is it proved that an unlisted YouTube video, 7-minute movie, could outdo NuTrek.
Yeah.
That's publicly available and promoted and advertised. It proved everything. RTNZ says, Merry Christmas, everyone. Oh my God. I have no idea what that says. I'm sorry, mate. I'm too far away from the screen. I can't read it. I think it has proven that it could. They have proven that it can be done. The Orville proved that you could do modern Trek and still retain the spirit of Star Trek. You're not going to get anywhere, not accepting the cause of your pain.
Yeah.
Hopefully, we have seen the end of this era of Star Trek, and hopefully we can get something of our franchise back.
We can only hope, as I say. I mean, yeah, it needs to rest though.
It needs to rest.
It needs to just rest for about 10 years, and then someone else can come and pick it up. Yeah.
As long as the right people come and take it on. Personally, I think this is where gatekeeping is a good thing. My message to Hollywood, not that they're ever going to pay attention to this channel or anything that I say and take it on board, is remember you are selling a product to a customer. You can't make people like the stuff that you're making. You have to make the stuff that people like. It's that simple.
I know.
And it's such a simple thing to do. I'm not going to keep us on for the sake of reaching the 3-hour mark. I'm actually starting to fade now. I can
Me
see
too.
that you're tired.
I'm tired, man. Yeah,
So,
I'm not gonna lie.
So here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to wish every single one of my subscribers and every single one of my non-subscribers an absolutely fantastic Christmas, a wonderful New Year. We will see you back here on the 2nd of January. This has been an Evening in 10 Forward. This has been a phenomenal 2025. It has had its ups and it's had its downs. We've had some tragedies and we've had some miracles. This channel and everything I do on this channel is fun for me to do and hopefully entertaining for you. 2026 may be a great year. It may be a sour year. We don't know yet. But I'm hoping and I'm wishing everybody well in this time. And we will see you back in 2026, an Evening in 10 Forward, installment 79, on the 2nd of January. Have a great Christmas. Spend time with your family and your loved ones. We shall see you next year. Thank you, Watch Nerd, for coming on. And thank you to everybody for watching our very small corner of YouTube. Much appreciated. Peace out, y'all. I'll see you in the new year. Take it easy. Bye-bye for now.